Did you ever think you would make it? I feel I'm so close I could taste sweet victory. I know this life meant for me.
Adam, what's your point? The future looks bright.
My handshake is better than anything I ever saw. It's right here.
You are a one-of-one?
My son's right about
I don't think I've ever said this before.
All right, hope you guys had a good weekend. Allegedly, apparently there was a debate that happened on Friday between a couple different people, and that debate was all over the place. Yeah, you heard about that, and it led to allegations of me selling Dodge cars, which I would never do in a million years, and I have to address that. It's a very important matter we will get into, and I will give you some insight, some stuff on the back end that we experienced going there. What was it like? Hospitality treatment, the Andrew Wilson earpiece, the moment of Candace handing me over her phone, and I wanted to say something when I was given the phone. I said maybe the timing wouldn't have been right. The different things, the clips that have gone viral, we will definitely talk about that today on the podcast. I'm glad they did it. A lot of people sat there and said, I can't believe this conversation is being had, and I can't believe they're doing this. You know, it's only this, it's only that. To me, I'm glad they had the conversation. And for those that say, well, Pat was on Candace's side, Pat was on Andrew Wilson's side, let me tell you what the reality was. The week before doing that debate, if there's anybody that Candace would have had the biggest issues with, would be Ben Shapiro. I had Ben Shapiro on the podcast the week before. So this was as fair as it could have gotten. We got, I'm glad that they were able to address the issue, so we'll get into that. Aside from that, Fauci apparently called ABC and said, hey, man, don't report on that story, and ABC didn't. And now we're learning about this, so we'll get in. Fauci's just had a rough 6 months. This has been a rough 2026 for Fauci.
And Todd Blanche announced, Pat, that he was referred to him for criminal.
He was.
He was.
Okay. All right. So we'll talk about that. And the one story that's a little bit, by the way, James O'Keefe, this guy, you guys got to give credit to these.
Oh, yeah.
Anybody that criticizes the James O'Keefes or the Nick Shirleys of the world that are going, like Thomas Massey called that Nick Shirley. What are you doing, Thomas? You're a heavyweight of a guy that's in the space. You're in it. You're discouraging a 24-year-old guy that's trying to go out there and lead to these different types of discussions. I don't think we need to do that of some people that have been around the space for a while. But James O'Keefe did something. He went out there in Minnesota, tried to vote. He dressed like a Muslim, and he showed how easy it is to vote in Minnesota. And Adam told me this right before. I said, there's no way this is true. In the story, it says, a man can vouch for 8 family members in Minnesota when they vote. I said, there's no way this is true. So then we had our team fact check it. Guess what? You can vouch for 8 family members in Minnesota to vote whatever way you want in Minnesota. Like, you know how people say, what a chauvinistic way of some of these guys say a man should be able to vote for his household. Well, guess what? In Minnesota, you can. And I'll play the clip for you. It's unbelievable of what happened there. And again, Nick Shirley, for those of you guys that support Nick Shirley, good job for Nick Shirley to do what he does. I know a lot of you guys communicate with him on Connect, and those help because this guy's not a millionaire. He's going out there putting his life on the line and getting all these stories. So to all the people that support him, good work. Nick Shirley, keep at it. Trump said something about the North Korea, South Korea that got a lot of people confused. You know, Trump orders Pentagon to scale back joint exercises with South Korea. And one of the tweets got conservatives and folks on MAGA to say, what is this all about? Why are you saying this? You know, there's lots of different angles on why he could be saying something like that. We will talk about that. Anthropic CEO, you ready for this one? This is very weird. Anthropic CEO's wife asked Epstein to help fund her porn business. And this is not a Babylon Bee or an Onion story. This is an actual story. The CEO of Anthropic, multi-billionaire, very brilliant, very smart guy, but his wife was raising money from Jeffrey Epstein. Now, there's many different angles to take with that, but that's kind of weird to have that as a tie. And then Hugh Hefner, stories comes out that he told the FBI that there's this guy named Jeffrey Epstein that is sexually assaulting our girls. Can you imagine Hugh Hefner saying that to the FBI? And now we're learning about these stories coming out. Both of them came out, so we'll address those stories. And then aside from that, Ro Khanna keeps pushing on this 5% wealth tax for a guy that they're saying at the low end, he's worth $70 million. At the high end, he's worth $300 million. And he's telling people that we should do a wealth tax to the 250 billionaires. And Mark Cuban comes out and gives an argument And quite a few people went after Ro Khanna, and then stories comes out that Ro Khanna is planning on running for office, president in 2028. And Newsom is more and more and more getting irrelevant because at least some of these guys, whether you like their policies or not, they're sticking to it. Newsom, like I said, if there's a gift you can send to Newsom, everybody on behalf of, supporting him, buy a pair of flip-flops and send it to him. Can you imagine he goes to his office, the actual Newsom governor's office, get hundreds of flip-flops.
Future looks bright.
Send any kind of flip-flops at this point. If you want to put a smile on his face, send a future looks bright. And but very weird. And then Luigi Mangione, the verdict's out. He comes out and he says, hey, I killed Mr. Thompson. At least he said Mr. Thompson. He's being respectful about it. Yeah. And he explains how he built the gun. He explains everything that he did. But he's flat out coming out and saying, here's what happened. And this, no hiding back. And a lot of people are wondering, why would you take that case? But at least now everybody knows what happened. That's like Tyler Robinson coming out and saying, I killed him. Here's how I did it. Here's what weapon I used. Flat out saying it. That's what Luigi did. We'll address that story. And then Lindsay, is it Clancy? Yep. Am I saying the last name correctly?
Yes.
What a weird situation. She sends her husband out. And then she, at that time when he's out, goes and kills her 3 kids.
5 years old, 3 years old,
8
months old, blinds them up in the basement, and strangles all 3 of them.
And women on TikTok have raised $750,000 for him because allegedly they say he did it, not her.
Well, there's people saying that he did it, but there's also therapists and women going, you don't know what it's like having postpartum depression. So, hey, anybody that has a kid knows, you've wanted to kill your kids, basically, is what they're saying. And they're trying to get $2 million for it. By the way, and her breaking down in court, Pat, was so good because the medical examiner's breaking down what happened. And she's like, I can't. It's a messed up story.
When hopefully we'll have time to get into that story. And then a couple other stories here that, God willing, we'll get into. Tim Pool was on Jubilee, and there was a couple interesting moments. If we have time, we'll get into that. And last but not least, Gen Z. 1/3 of Gen Z steers clear of car insurance. Surveys find. I remember one time on the 405 freeway with a Mitsubishi Eclipse. I'm driving down. This guy in front of me brakes, and very bad. And we get into his fender bender. He gets out of the car. He's crying. He says, please don't call the cops. Please don't call the cops. I said, what do you mean? I don't have any insurance. Just let me go, please. He's worried that we got into an accident. So apparently today, 1/3 of Gen Zs don't want to have any auto insurance. Do you have auto insurance? You have auto insurance. We're talking about how much it's very for
almost $300.
By the way, if you were to ask right now, okay, here's a question for you. They should know this. How many speeding tickets has Vinny gotten in his life? In his life. He's 48 years young. How many speeding tickets has Vinny gotten in his life? Can you run a poll real quick? 0 to 3. Let's see how good you are. 3 to 6. 6 to 10. 10 plus. How many speeding tickets? Let's see how this poll is on how Vinny's done. But 1/3 of Gen Z don't want to get any auto insurance for their own reasons. All right. With that being said, guys, many of you guys have been messaging saying, hey, Pat, we haven't had a limited edition hat in a long time. And I know a lot of people when they say, I want to get a numbered hat, you can only go buy them on eBay. You know how this works. When we launch them, it's once every quarter. And then when we do, it goes. And when it goes, the only place you can go get it is on eBay, and you're paying 3 to 10 times price, whatever the individuals want to sell it for. If you go on eBay right now, you type in Future Looks Bright. Just go on eBay right now and type in Future Looks Bright. You will see the merch. That hat, $2,000, $500, $449. At one point, somebody only paid $99 to buy some of these numbered hats. So we're doing it again today. We haven't done it in months, but our latest numbered Future Looks Bright hat, 250-year anniversary, all black with the gray on it, which looks absolutely sick. It says United States 1776 to 2026 with the American flag. If you can switch the picture so folks can see what it looks like on the side. That's the front of it. On the side is the American flag. Keep going so they can see it. And on the other side, it says Valuetainment. On the inside, it says Future Looks Bright with numbered 1 out of 250. These will go in no time. For some of you guys that collect these, I know we have kids. Somebody's a kid here at the podcast buys them and she flips them on eBay and she makes money doing this. And I'm obviously Vinny doesn't have any kids, and neither does Adam. Not yet, neither one of them. But somebody. So if you haven't bought the latest one yet, go to vtmerch.com and place your order for the limited edition numbered 1 out of 250. We'll put the link below. Again, go to vtmerch.com, place your order. These things won't last a long time. And we have some major announcement that we'll be making here in the next few weeks. Again, go to vtmerch.com, place your order, future looks bright. With that being said, let's get into our first story. The first story I want to get into is a Ro Khanna story. Ro Khanna tweets out a video describing that the wealth tax isn't as bad as you think it is, Vinny. It's not. These 250 billionaires can afford to pay, their 5% wealth tax. And a lot of people are like, wait a minute, what are you talking about? It is so bad that even, Mark Cuban decides to respond to it. So watch the tweet. It says California Democratic Party and California Labor Movement just stood with Bernie Sanders and me in supporting the 5% wealth tax on 250 billionaires. California voters want a Democratic Party that will stand for the working class over the billionaire class. If you want to play this clip, and then we're going to read what Mark Cuban said. Go for it.
California Democratic Party and the California Labor
Movement. Oh, he's just repeating it?
Stood
okay,
with Bernie
don't worry about
Sanders.
it. So pause it and just go to what Mark Cuban said about this. If you can go back to the one tweet. Okay, so here's Mark Cuban. Ro, I like you. You know that. But you need to read the state of the state. The number of Deca unicorns in California is growing by the day as investors chase amazing startups. A unique feature of these $10 billion startups is that even if they raise $1 billion little, if any of that money goes to the founders who are now worth billions of dollars overnight, they are the definition of cash poor, stock rich. I know this feeling when, we had a business that's worth a couple $100 million and I was stock rich and cash poor. How are you going to tax them? Make them borrow money against their shares if they can? They just raise money to grow their company and bank will come along and loan them money. A company that has been in business maybe less than a year, go a little bit lower. Will you take their stock if they can't? Do you really think each of these founders who started an amazing company in Cali is now a billionaire? Can each just pull out $250 million per billion of their net worth from their raise? They can't. If this passes and it doesn't directly impact me at all, I won't be a Cali resident. But you can bet if I'm investing in multi-billion-dollar startups, I'm asking them to move from California first. In my opinion, if this passes, only idiot startup founders stay in Cali. I've done this before and I'll do it again. Dallas, Pittsburgh, Indiana. I will make not being in California a prerequisite for an investment. Ideology is not a strategy, Ro. I responded on this Ro Khanna tweet as well if you want to go to my profile. And I took a slightly different angle. California lost $1 trillion of wealth twice in the last 5 years. If you, Ro Khanna, and Gavin Newsom passed the 5% wealth tax, theft tax, on your 250 billionaires, you'll suffer consequences you've never seen before. And the biggest impact will be on low and middle income families. You know this. Why low and middle income families? Who creates those jobs? These guys do. And they can go anywhere. You know what states are looking for billionaires? 50. You know how many of these states are gladly looking for billionaires and saving them 13.3% in taxes? I think it's 6 or 7 of them. You don't think, I was in Tennessee a couple days ago. You want to know why so many people are going to Tennessee? 0 state taxes. You know why people are going to Texas? 0 state taxes. You know why Florida is growing the way that it does? 0% state taxes. If you go right now on Realtor.com and go to Palm Beach, just go to Palm Beach and go to Realtor.com. Go to Realtor.com and type in Palm Beach. You know what you'll notice? Something you've never seen before. If you type in Palm Beach right there in the search, if you guys don't mind doing that in the back, go ahead and type in Palm Beach in there. Not West Palm Beach, just Palm Beach. I never said West, just Palm Beach in there, right there. Type in Palm Beach and click on that first one. Right below it, it gave it to you. If you go to this and go to prices, go to relevant listing and go to the highest first. Watch this. 205 million.
Damn.
200 million. 185 million. 157 million. Go a little bit lower. 105 million. 89 million. 88 million. You know why? Because billionaires can afford to buy these houses. And they're moving to Palm Beach. And where do you think most of these billionaires are coming from? States like New York, like Illinois, like D.C., like California, who are pushing their people out to states like Florida, Texas, Tennessee, Nevada, and other places. Tom, when you hear Ro Khanna pushing this, and the story comes out saying that Ro Khanna, considering 2020 a presidential run, says AOC decision doesn't have any bearing. This is Ro Khanna. He's interested in running in 2028. Is this the clip? If you want to play it, go for it, guys. We're going to need...
seemingly in disarray about the party's direction. And you have been known to lay out your national agenda. You're doing a little bit today on this program. Maria Bartiromo on this show has pointedly asked you, and I did in the break, if you are running in 2028. Are you?
I'm considering it, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Because I understand the future economy, and I see that it's only working for a few, and I want it to work for people who I grew up with.
If AOC runs, do you run?
I don't think that has any bearing. What matters is, do I have an economic vision that actually will have success? Look, I am so grateful to this country. It's given my family everything. And I want to see the kids I grew up with, their families be able to succeed in a modern economy. I understand AI.
Okay, pause
I understand the future.
Can you go to ChatGPT and type in, what is Ro Khanna's net worth? Tom, I'm coming to you right after this. What is Ro Khanna's net worth according to ChatGPT? Can you just go through? It is. Well, let's see what it's going to say.
Ahead. He can buy one of those houses.
So type in, what is Ro Khanna's net worth? The way he speaks is a...
He's such a...
What is Ro Khanna's net worth? Net worth. There you go. Let's see what it says.
It's more than you think, guys. I'm telling you right now.
Is it 500,000? Is it 800,000?
No, way more.
Is it 1 million? Or is
way
it,
more.
Is it $70 to $300 million?
It's somewhere around 200 million, apparently.
Adding the disclosure ranging gives roughly 98.7 million net worth in 2024. To 314 million. An analysis using Open Secrets data, which you trust Open Secrets, said his median estimated net worth is $232.7 million. But you know who won't be taxed to 5%? He won't be, because he's not a billionaire. He's only worth $232 million. Tom, thoughts?
Well, you left something out. Your response to his tweet was correct. But there's one small thing you left out, and that is the middle class, not only will they not get jobs, the jobs they do get, Pat, they're going to get taxed because there's no one left to tax if you lose your high taxpayers, and you still have to build your rail and provide all the services to people. And the element that here that people don't understand, if you create a company, so let's just look, people often don't understand creating a company and it has a value and that you don't really have that money. It would be like someone knocking on your door and say, hey, you've been living here for 10 years. Your house has gone up in value. We'd like to tax 5% of the gain because it's not fair that that happened to your house. Everybody in America that owns a house will understand that. But you would say, where would your parents or you get that money for that house? You wouldn't. You would have to go, wait a minute, I don't have that. Zillow says...
Hang on, Tom. I'm getting an interruption here from a guy named Dylan Bet-David. Dylan, go ahead. What do you want to tell us? I'm in the middle of a podcast.
Dylan.
I just pulled a $4,000 card.
That's why you FaceTime me right now?
Yeah, I pulled a few of them.
A $4,000 card.
Tell us what the card is.
It's a Pokemon card.
Are you?
Well, a guy named Ro Khanna wants to tax you 5% for that.
You're going to get taxed on
Would
it,
you vote for Ro?
Rayquaza.
Raekwon.
Okay. All right, Dilly, I'm going to get back to the podcast.
Happy
You keep
Kwanzaa,
doing your
Dylan.
thing, buddy.
Okay.
All right, love you. Bye-bye.
He's the best.
Dude, that's $4,000.
I'm sorry, Tom.
Yeah,
Dylan
No.
is...
So
How dare he? Go ahead.
Yeah. So let's say I'll get back to it. You owned a house, or your parents owned a house. It goes up in value, Vinny. They come knock on your door and say, "Hey, according to Zillow, you're a millionaire." No. Do you understand? We bought this house, 17 years ago for $350. Zillow says it's $1 million, but if the economy crashes, it could be less than that. Yeah, but since you're a millionaire, we'd like 5% of the $600,000 gain. You're giving me a bill for $30,000 right here. That's the analogy I make to people, and they say, "Wait a minute, people don't have that." If they wanted to put 30,000 of that in their house, they'd have to go get a home equity line or something to build their kitchen. They don't understand it.
Yeah.
Well, now multiply that times 100 for someone that goes out, they're building the company, and a venture capitalist says, I think that thing is worth $1 billion, and I will give you $50 million this next round of financing to pay for engineers and do things. And then the state says, hey, let's round up everybody. This thing's worth $1 billion. Everybody, 5%, please. And you're like, wait a minute. We don't have the cash. We're building a building. We're building this building, which contains this wonderful company.
Yeah.
Building a building. I like that.
Yeah. But the point is, you can't get to it. But Ro Khanna, this is populism. What this is populism. It doesn't matter that it doesn't make sense logically, or that it would create a hellscape of people trying to find the money to do it. It doesn't matter. He knows that these people wouldn't have the money to pull it out.
Can I tell you what I respect? Can I tell you though?
He's just running
Tom, let me
with
ask
popular
you,
opinion.
Do you think, what is different between Ro Khanna and Newsom? Who's more of a true believer about the 5%, him or Newsom?
Ro Khanna.
I'm asking Tom.
Oh,
Who's
sorry.
more of a
True believer?
about-
I think Newsom's more of a true believer, but he tried to distance himself for it this summer because the polling was showing negative.
See, I'm the other way around. I think Newsom's full of shit. I think Newsom is for anything that helps him become a president.
But that's
and
what I mean.
Push back on what I'm saying.
What I'm saying is that makes him a true believer in the flaw.
Oh, meaning that it doesn't work. Oh, we're saying the same thing then.
Yes.
Oh, you're saying that he knows that it doesn't work.
Straight
yeah,
up.
we're on the same page.
But he's pushing it like the
Exactly.
cardboard
but
cutout
I
that he is.
actually believe this is a Ro Khanna policy. And what is crazy about Ro Khanna coming up with this policy? You know what's the craziest thing? Do you know what district he's in?
He's in Silicon Valley, sir.
Oh, weird.
San Jose.
So I just want to know, when this guy goes to restaurants, what do people say when all the billionaires
man.
go to dinners there? You don't think they're pulling him aside? And what is he trying to say? Hey, it's not that bad. You can handle it. You can pay for it. Adam, your thoughts on this?
Well, because for every one billionaire, there's 100,000 people basically agreeing with him. I mean, it's populist mentality.
They're going to pay the biggest price for it.
Let me show some stats in honor of Tom Ellsworth. I do think that Ro Khanna is a likable guy. I don't think Gavin Newsom is likable.
Much more likable.
We've had Ro Khanna on the podcast. He's a nice guy.
He is.
Just because you're nice doesn't mean you're right, though.
Yeah.
Look at this map right here.
Say to honor Tom Ellsworth, and in honor of sounds like I'm dead.
Thank you, Tom. I appreciate that. Look at this map right here. Tell me which part of the country looks very, very red. If you could scroll in on that little bit. The left side of it. Now, this isn't voting tendencies. These are people who are leaving your area, leaving your county. So it says county by county taxpayer gains and losses from interstate migration. If you look all the way to the left, the red counties lost taxpayers. Blue counties gained taxpayers. This isn't a political thing. This is people moving or staying. Why are so many people leaving California? I mean, it's not even close. You can see in the Northeast, it's very red. People are getting out of California for a few reasons. The billionaires are leaving because of the tax policies. Families are leaving because of crime and safety. And reasonable people are saying, I'm done with the wokeness. Now, here's my challenge with Ro, who's a likable guy. It's very easy to say you want to tax people if you never earned it. Do you know how Ro Khanna earned his money or got his money?
Wow.
He didn't make it. He didn't start a business. He wasn't like, guys, I got this great idea. Here's what we're going to do. He married a rich lady whose father started an auto parts industry, like he's freaking Tommy Boy out here, Callahan Auto Parts, and he now is worth $200 million.
More, and I'll give you the number after.
Because his wife, God bless her, I think we all want a rich wife, was like, yeah, I got you, Ro. He's a lawyer. He was he taught economics of all things at Stanford. He worked in Obama's Commerce Department, and his salary is $175,000 a year as a representative. Do the math on that. How is this guy worth $200 million? He married up.
Well,
And he carpet bagged from Cleveland to San Jose.
Well, Pat, there was a report on June 30th by Free Beacon. Just to give you guys a heads up, he talks about everybody who hoards their wealth. He's in a $6-point-something million DC mansion, a 4-story elevator. His family's $340 million plus fortune. This is 2026. Sits in exact trust, hedge funds, and LLC that he condemns. Those trusts made 4,100 stock trades worth $53 million in 2025. Even as he pushes for this ban members of Congress for trading stocks, Pat, he claims zero knowledge of the trades. That's what he says. And his kids, who are under 10 years old, hold stakes in 3 private golf clubs, a $65 billion wealth firm, and a distressed debt hedge fund, the same vehicles that he attacks. His wife drives a $200,000 Range Rover. So the fact that he's building, this shielding exactly what he says that the rich people shouldn't do, that's what he's doing.
All of that stuff I have no problem with.
Yeah.
But he knows this is not a good idea. He knows, and he's still pushing it. So let's see what happens. It'll be. I actually want it to become a reality because there's a part of me that, like I've said this before, I love my people in California. And I know what it is to love California. Trust me, I love California. But when you have bad policies destroying a big state, sometimes you need a case study for people to realize that this simply doesn't work. And if it's done at the state level, like California's 4th largest economy in the world, let's see what happens. Maybe some people are like, it's not going to be as bad as you think it is. Let's test it out. We'll learn for ourselves if it's a good thing or a bad thing. Let me get to the next story here. Next story I wanted to get to is James O'Keefe. So James O'Keefe, who used to run Project Veritas. Now he runs OMG, which I think it's called
O'Keefe Media Group.
O'Keefe Media Group. He decides to go in Minnesota dressed like a Muslim to go vote. And by the way, I mean, of course he's spoofing a little bit, but do you have the short clip of him doing this? O'Keefe, others, I was just reading that. Go back to it if you could. O'Keefe, others go undercover to register voter under Minnesota voucher law. You're the ID. Voucher law. So let's see what this looks like. Go for it. This is again Minnesota. And allegedly, he, as a man, can vouch for 8 other people in his family. Go ahead.
Okay.
Can't play that song.
Don't play that song. Okay.
Vouching.
You're vouching for.
I vouch for them.
Oh, great.
Is that okay?
Yes.
How does that
I
work?
mean, his accent
Well,
is
if you're all in the same precinct,
Yes.
and you are already registered, which it looks like you are, then you can vouch for them.
How is that
as ID
legal?
for them.
Oh, good.
She says to me, I say they do not need ID. She says, you are the ID.
He is the ID.
See, I am the ID.
And no ID needed. I just vouch for them.
Well,
That's
you're
good.
the ID.
Dude.
I am the ID.
You're the
That's
ID.
good. How many people may I vouch for?
It's
8?
I thought it was 6.
I can vouch for 8 people.
Is this a
Yes.
joke?
Did she say? Do you have an
Is
answer?
this a
Did she say
joke?
the answer?
No, it's not.
You can vouch for 8 people?
And this happens.
Can you do me a favor and go fact check this with every one of the language learning models out there and see if this is true. If can you just go to go check all of them and see. Adam, I'm going to come to you first.
Yes, sir.
Go for it.
Well, Minnesota's cooked. We've said that for a while. I don't know how people keep falling for James O'Keefe. He'll go on a date, just put on glasses like he's Clark Kent. See-through glass. People are like, I've never seen this guy in my life. I think any liberal area in the country, especially in D.C., needs to keep their eyes out for the great James O'Keefe. But the bigger story here is, why are independent journalists doing so well? What is the mainstream media doing? What is the legacy media doing that you're leaving a hole in the marketplace, a void in the marketplace where independent journalists like James O'Keefe, Nick Shirley, what's our buddy, Nate Friedman, Savannah Hernandez, show up and expose all the waste, fraud, and corruption all around America. But the journalists, the legacy media, the supposed journalists, you can't find any of this. That's the biggest problem I have. The citizen journalists out there are exposing the ridiculousness that's going on in our country.
Okay, so let me
whereas
do that.
the main journalists are doing
Here we
nothing.
go. So which one is this? This is ChatGPT. Yes, under Minnesota law, a registered voter in a precinct may vouch for the residence of up to 8 people on election day, allowing those people to establish residency for same-day voter registration. So that's what are the other guys saying? Go to the other ones. This falls under election voting rules and logistics, so I must follow the special election response. Knowledge, this guy's not willing to answer. So which one is this?
What other
so Gemini's
states
a
have
little
this?
bit worried. Go to the other ones.
Gemini's scared.
So this is who? Perplexity. Yes, in Minnesota, a registered voter from the same precinct can vouch for up to 8 people registering on election day. The voucher must go with the registrant to the polling place and sign an oath confirming that person lives in the precinct. Too important. That is unbelievable that they can do this.
Can we ask if any other states allow something like
there's
this?
a form. By the way, it says the form is, and I found Perplexity as well, and I've got the state of Minnesota here guideline. And it says the person who vouches must have positive ID that they live in the district and are registered to vote. And there is a form they will sign out that under the penalty of perjury, the 8 people are who they say they are and live where they say.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
so it used to be, so there is something in there, Pat. There actually is a form. You know these 8 people under the penalty of perjury are doing this. It still is loosey-goosey, but it's not just like walk in and talk. Apparently there's a form you have to sign.
By the way, Tom, some people would call this a far-right idea. You know, a lot of people in America are saying that, you know what one of Andrew Wilson's positions is? A man should represent the vote of the household, if I'm not mistaken. So in Minnesota, they can do this. If you went and pitched this to America and you said, in every state, the man of the household can vouch for everybody else living in his household to vote, you know what they would say? They would say, hell to the no. But they're willing to do it in Minnesota. It's a very, very weird position. Adam, keep going.
No, I mean, this is the issue that people have with going all over the country. By the way, Tim Walz, who is still the governor of Minnesota, why did he not run for re-election? Why did he basically step down? It's because of independent journalists like Nick Shirley who exposed him. And I love this sign that allegedly is in an airport somewhere. It's like, days of Tim Walz apologizing for what he's done. Zero, because Nick Shirley's basically owned him. But we need more of this, not less of this. James O'Keefe is the GOAT when it comes to this. And he spawned off all these amazing people like Nick Shirley.
Can we go to the clip
exposing
of
the fraud?
Nick Shirley and Thomas Massey? Nick Shirley is minding his own business, talking about what he's doing, and Thomas Massey quote tweets it and calls him out. Now, you have to realize this is kind of confusing. So hard to take Nick Shirley seriously until he starts calling out Johnson, Thune, and Trump for funding the daycare fraud in every omnibus and CR bill with no guardrails. Okay, so now Massey's putting it on him because go back to the tweet where you were at. You know, Nick Shirley tweeted something and said, your tax dollars have become new money laundering schemes for these corrupt politicians. Governor Hochul has been taking donations from these daycares, fraudsters in New York City who receive millions of your taxpayer dollars to operate adult daycares. Now, he's not calling out Massey. He's saying nothing to Massey. So it's not like Nick Shirley is calling out Massey. He's calling out Hochul in New York, and then Massey calls out Shirley, and then Nick Shirley comes back and says, in other words, why can't a 24-year-old solve all government spending problems? You people in D.C. are a large part of the problem. All you do is complain and whine on X, Y. Your job is to actually work for us. I've exposed and saved billions. What have you done?
He's saying that to Thomas Massey.
To Massey. Go a little bit lower in the comment section. Go a little bit lower in the comment section.
Thomas Massey is asking Nick Shirley to somehow stop.
I'm 100% independent and rely on my followers to continue doing my work. So go a little bit lower. Massey response, if you can go a little bit lower. Grok, has Nick Shirley, this is the part that gets pretty bad for Thomas Massey. Has Nick Shirley saved Americans billions of dollars? Did Thomas Massey offer an amendment to limit the fraudulent daycare? Nick Shirley claims on some videos of millions of dollars and 30 bills of billions of dollars. One feature center owner later pleaded guilty to related fraud. Broader Minnesota fraud was already known and estimated in $1 billion. No independent audit quantifies exact. Didn't the governor resign because of Nick Shirley? Who did that? Nick Shirley did that.
Right.
Yes, Massey offered an amendment, and which, by the way, Massey has done some good work in the past himself. But what are you doing? What are you doing? It's a 24-year-old that is encouraged to go out there and do the work that a lot of mainstream media are not doing, and you're putting it on, hey, you should go out and call out Thune. He's a YouTuber. He's a YouTuber that's doing this. So, anyways, it's a very, very strange situation here with Massey picking on Shirley, while Massey's job, he can go after Thune. He can go after Johnson. He can go after all those guys. That's your job.
Right.
Nick Shirley's job is to just go out there and expose what he's doing and put the content out and allow the rest of us to react to it. Vinny, what is your thoughts when you see Massey saying something like this to Shirley?
It's ridiculous, okay? The kid is out there busting his butt. Either he's in Cuba, he's in Minnesota, he's in New York.
Madrid.
He's in Madrid. He is Spain. Out there. He is doing, like Adam said, what mainstream isn't doing. And I understand where Thomas Massey's coming from and, he's, being held back and there's, parameters because you're in government. But you do your job. Weren't you supposed to release all these names of all the Epstein victims? What happened to that? If you're gonna talk the talk,
did he ever release it?
He never. They never. No. Pat, they haven't released anything.
There was actually video of him saying, "If they don't do this, I'm gonna release all the names."
Yeah, where is
that? What you're talking about?
Yes,
but did he release it or no?
Absolutely not.
You're saying that Thomas Massey didn't live up to his promise?
Yes. So
stop it.
Yeah. So my point is, just what Nick has done in Minnesota alone. And Connor, I'm gonna ask for that video. Look what he did to Tim Walz. You haven't heard a peep from Ilhan Omar with her brothers and the marriage and her husband and all that stuff allegedly, and then Keith Ellison and all the nonsense and all the, oh my God, illegals, ICE and everything. Not a peep from these people.
What is this?
So by the way, guys, this is Minnesota GOP candidate Leslie Larson. She woke up to her car doing this. Play that video. If you could, it's on, Connor, could you zoom in to what they're doing? Look at how scary this is, okay? They're masked. They're outside. What if she walked outside? Okay,
what is on her car? What are they putting on it?
Middle fingers. And by the way, she's running on a platform to end fraud. Guess where? In Minnesota. They're clearly afraid that she's going to win. Okay, and she needs to be careful because the last time somebody tried to stop giving money to illegals, Melissa Hortman, she was gunned down in her house with her husband, and then the killer went and shot 2 other people. And that killer said allegedly in a letter, which I was going to read a while ago, that doesn't sound incoherent, which the mainstream media said. Bolter was his last name. That Tim Walz told him to kill all these, to kill, what's her name? Klobuchar. It didn't sound
Allegedly.
allegedly, all allegedly, but the letter doesn't sound incoherent. So I think she needs to be careful because these are the people that you're messing with. When you're gonna mess with their people, you're gonna expose them. You have to be careful, okay? And it's messed up. I don't like what he's doing. Let the guy cook. He's freaking exposing. Even if it's not 100% true, at least people are looking. And I'm not saying true. I mean the evidence he's exposing. Everybody's looking at Minnesota right now, and they're all under the microscope. I'm happy for him.
So Thomas Massey needs to be more like Nick and not criticizing him. I think Massey was just out of his mind for a moment, and I'll tell you why. He's saying, until you go after these people, wait a minute. Thomas Massey put a resolution in that bill that the high-risk states would not get the federal funding. Then they went to committee, and when they're in committee, guess what happens? The other Republicans overruled it. And they took out Massey's request, allowing the money to freely flow. What is Nick Shirley going to do? Show up with his camera crew in a federal hearing room and say, "Excuse me, guys, are you ripping off America?" No, Massey, you need to come out in public and say the following people pulled my resolution out. The following people allowed the money to flow. The following people took what I was trying to do and stop it, and they allowed it to go because we went into committee. This is your government at work. You need to do that. Be more like Nick Shirley, because you can do that. You can use the bully puppet. Coming out and saying it's hard to take the kid seriously unless he goes after Thune and all these people that messed with the resolution. No, it just shocks me, Pat, because it's so upside down. There's an opportunity for Massey to come out and say, I tried to stop it. Here's my resolution. Read it, America. This got yanked out of the bill. Your tax dollars at work.
Yeah, I mean, look, anytime younger people are out there doing what Nick Shirley does, this is not an easy job. He's putting his life on the line. And I hope he's getting encouraged by the right people. Again, Nick Shirley's on Manek. Go send him a message and encourage him. You can literally go on Manek, find the name Nick Shirley, download the app, message him. This is how younger people get in. He needs the money to be able to expand. It's a lot of cost of what he's doing. And security alone, the other day he was breaking down to us how much security costs from right now on a daily basis. The numbers are not, it's not like you're paying $500 a day for security. It's real money you have to spend for security when you're going out there. Nick Shirley. Yeah, he shared the numbers that he was having with us on how much it is. Let me get to the next story.
Can I show you this one quick video? I know you want to move on. Guys, I just sent it. Do you know who the lieutenant governor is in Minnesota? No, I think he's the attorney general. Peggy Flanagan.
What about her?
This is, okay, so you hear about this red-green alliance?
Yep.
This is what's going on in Minnesota, where you have the far-left woke white liberals who are basically assuming a Somali identity, and this is the final outcome.
So this is a white lady.
Yes.
My name's Peggy Flanagan. I am the Lieutenant Governor of Minnesota, and I'm really honored and humbled to be here with all of you today. I am incredibly clear that the Somali community is part of the fabric of the state of Minnesota. I think about my friendship with Nimco. We've been friends for almost 25 years. And when I think of being part of Minnesota and growing up here, the Somali community has always been a part of my Minnesota. So I want to just encourage the community.
This is the equivalent.
Jacob Fry is sitting there eating Somali food. He looks like he's going to throw up.
Is Humberto right there?
Dance.
Is that Humberto?
He's trying to dance with them. And Pat, you know what it is? When everybody's in on this scheme and the fraud and everything, you got to be cool with them. You have to be cool with them because the money's coming back to you.
It's vote.
All fraud.
I just want you to picture this one thing. We just had the governor debate here, the Florida Republican debate. We had Lieutenant Governor Jay Collins on the debate stage. Can you picture a former Army veteran dressed in a hijab basically saying Somalians built this state? This is the problem here. That guy is as American as it gets. The left has been hijacked
to me,
by the
like
Somali
a guy
community.
connects me. He says, it's not fair. You guys are saying this. You're Islamophobic and all this other. I said, let me tell you how little it has to do with Islamophobic. Here's how simple for me to position is. And I'm going to keep saying this over and over and over again. Whatever religion you are, skin color, ethnicity, whatever you are, if you go to a community, make it better, make it safer, crime goes down, any of that goes down, I want more of that community. Very simple. I don't care what religion you are. And whatever you are, if you go to a community, crime goes up, theft goes up,
fraud.
If fraud goes up, if any of that goes up, we should collectively say, you want less of that. Let me give you an idea. If you run a company and we hire from 5 universities, okay, and we have programs from 5 universities, if university number 1, the last 100 employees we hired from there, we have the best experience of them being good citizens, no theft, respect, hardworking, come in early, leave late, bring value, get promoted. We want more people from that college. But if another college, name it anything, if they send us people, they steal, they do things, they hurt, they create chaos, they're hard to work with, they come in late, they're always bitching, complaining, I don't want anybody from that university. Again, I don't care. By the way, this isn't to say about every one of them. This is not the case. This is to say if a Rupert Lowe puts a report of 250,000 rapes that took place in UK, of which 87% are Pakistanis, I don't want any more Pakistanis. By the way, did you guys see what UK just did? UK just did something for them not to be able to report crimes. If you go on Tommy Robinson's Twitter, he just posted this, where UK is making it almost impossible for them to be able to report on, if you can go to his account, go a little bit lower. There was a more, go a little bit lower. It's one of the glasses that's now taken. Okay, go up to that one. Go up to that one. Okay, UK government has lodged a legal appeal to stop the publishing of migrant crime data.
Go figure.
Why would, do me a favor, go on it real quick, and let me see the comment section below. Magical, everything wrong is used to allow them misdirection. There's seriously, country publishes the numbers and lets people judge for themselves. Appealing to stop the release of migrant crime data tells you everything about how confident they are in what those figures actually show. So nobody here is racist towards anybody. It's just purely data. You produce results, that's great. You don't, you ought to minimize it. Let me get to the next story. Next one I wanted to get into is Anthropic CEO's wife. Little weird story. I mean, maybe there's nothing there, but it's an interesting story. Anthropic CEO's wife, Dario Amode's wife, Cami Clark, courted Jeffrey Epstein to invest in her porn company. I mean, somebody may say, well, it's just a porn company. It's not a big deal, but it's a pretty interesting story. Cami Clark, the secretive wife of Anthropic CEO Dario, maintains a minimal public profile while serving as a key advisor to the AI leader, and the scrutiny of her history has revealed she sought investment in her revolutionary porn company from convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein years after his jail sentence. The Wall Street Journal reported on this, by the way. Clark doesn't work at Anthropic, but her presence is a regular feature of Amode's public life. Front row at Davos, talking with investors at the Allen & Company conference in Sun Valley. People close to the company say she acts as a sounding board and a strategic advisor role, reaching back to Anthropic's early days when she brought in key investors. Eric Schmidt, the Democratic mega donor and former Google CEO, she had dated as the company got off the ground in early 2021. Despite her influence, scant details about Clark are available online. Efforts have been made to remove references to her from the internet per journal. Even Evan Cloud, Anthropic's own chatbot, appears to have little information about her. So weird story when the Epstein stuff comes out. And then there's another story that came out, and I'll read this, and Tom, I'll come to you first. Hugh Hefner reported Jeffrey Epstein to the FBI after Playmate accused late financier of rape and sex trafficking. Hugh Hefner from Playboy, sex trafficking. And now we're hearing about the story. You think maybe the world needed to notice a little bit earlier? Late Playboy mogul Hugh Hefner allegedly called the FBI to report convicted sex offender after Playmate told him she'd been raped and trafficked by the discharged financier. Audra Lynn Christensen, a 2003 Playmate, was living with Hefner at the Playboy Mansion when she turned to him for help, claiming Epstein raped her and trafficked her to his wealthy friends. According to the New York Post, she says that in 2005, after Hefner to call authorities on her behalf, hoping his clout would get her allegations taken seriously, Mr. Hefner called the FBI multiple times on behalf of Mr. Christensen to report Jeffrey Epstein. The allegations appear in an amended complaint filed in May in federal court in Florida, a lawsuit brought by Epstein victims accusing the FBI of failing to act on multiple reports on sexual abuses dating back to 1996. Christensen, now 46, says she didn't hear back from the FBI until October 2020, 15 years after Hefner, who died in 2017, called them. Tom, thoughts?
So the reason this is a headline because there apparently were several people who have, Vinny, you and I know the heart we have for the kids that were involved in this. There were people that brought this up. There were people that tried to flag it. Nothing happened. The reason that Hefner is in the headline was because, 5 years ago, something like that, 5 years ago, 4 years ago, A&E published Secrets of Playboy. And it was a documentary on what happened in Playboy. And Hugh Hefner was accused of trafficking bunnies. They were called the Playmate of the Month, and they called them bunnies, trafficking them to his friends that would come to the Playboy Mansion, and we would just read about.
Those were allegations about Hefner?
Yeah, allegation about Hefner that was in the A&E documentary Secrets of Playboy. The same things were out there. Now, after that ran, there were two camps. It was kind of funny. Cooper Hefner, who is Hefner's son, was like, look, my dad was my dad. He was a trailblazer in this area. You may not have liked it, but he was never illegal and never anything bad happened to these girls and everything. He really cared about people. Well, of course, he's saying that. Meanwhile, Playboy, which is now owned by non-Hefner family, remember they came out and said, today's Playboy is not Hugh Hefner's Playboy. And so they were trying to distance it. So the headline is that, did Hefner really try to do something good for a woman that he was close to, that was living with him at the time, and tried to get the attention of the FBI? He probably did. This sounds legitimate, because she's got documentation of where she was, when it happened, all the things that happened. And remember, these people in these circles, Pat, they follow the party. We're going to go over here for Super Bowl. Then we're going over here. They kind of follow the party, and they follow the rich buddies where they're going. Hey, we're going to get on this plane, 5 of us. We're going down over here for this, and they go. Oh, so-and-so is going to turn 40. We're going to go to the island. And so her coming back and telling Hefner, I find this to be credible. But the reason it's a headline this weekend is because Hefner and Playboy were accused of the same thing dating back to the 70s.
Vinny, thoughts?
Well, I mean, it's like every couple weeks, maybe a month, it goes by. We don't hear about Epstein because the news cycle is so bad. But I just want people out there that I kind of have that, whatever, it's not whatever. Like he was just some rich pervert or whatever. But look at all the names connected to this guy, okay? From Bill Gates, Les Wexner, Leon Black. Remember, everybody, guys, as if everybody forgot. Prince Andrew, Bill Clinton, Ehud Barak, Glenn Dubin, some of the biggest names, all these guys. And now it goes back to Hugh Hefner and the reporting. The thing that bothers me, Pat, is the reporting it. The reporting it and the FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, waiting 15 years. And again, look at the stuff that happened when he was here, Tom, in Florida.
Bingo. That's the thing.
How 15 years? So when people like us, like Tom, we talk about like everybody is in on it, they look at you like you're crazy, and then you hear stories like this. If you're trying to contact the FBI for sexual assault or rape or whatever, and because it's this guy who is protected that belongs to intelligence, remember what they said, Tom? The Florida?
That was the quote. He belongs to intelligence. Yeah. Somebody was told somebody.
Alex Acosta, I believe. Alex Acosta, who was here. He belongs to intelligence. It drives me crazy. And again, this story, you said this a couple months ago, is never going to go away. It's going to keep resurfacing. And I just want everybody to keep understanding how powerful he was and how powerful this blackmail operation was, because that's what it was. He worked for intelligence agencies, and their main thing was getting dirt on you either through your email or you were at the Epstein Island or you at his freaking mansion, like Ehud Barak, how many times he freaking visited, because they got dirt on you. And once they have dirt on you, they can do anything that they want to you, and they have you for the rest of your life. Plain and simple.
Did you think Hefner had the ability to pick up the phone and talk to one of his lawyers and know who to call?
Absolutely.
Absolutely, Tom. So it shows you how big, if the supposition and all this evidence is true, which lines up, and we're making assumptions here.
Yes, we are.
Allegedly, this is the way it unfolded, but it sure lines up with Acosta and everything else about how Epstein was, protected and was doing other things, which, puts wood on the fire of the whole Mossad connection and everything like this, that even Hefner, who would know who to call in law enforcement and his attorneys, can't get somebody's attention.
And think about it. Who's been arrested? Has any, listen, going back to Massey, Pat, all this stuff, all these victims, all this, not one person, or Ghislaine Maxwell, who's a pimp, okay, she's in freaking jail. They moved her around because she was talking to Todd Blanche before he got, Attorney General. What are we doing? What are we doing? Everybody just moves on. It's like next story. It's insane.
By the way, she didn't talk to Congress. She does
didn't.
talk to justice, and then she gets moved to a slightly better prison.
Yeah, she talked to his lawyer. Yeah, weird.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we'll see. We'll see what happened with a story like this, and we'll go to the next one. By the way, I want to get into the Candace and Andrew Wilson debate that took place. But before we do that, let's go. If you have the clip to show of FLB shoes, before we get into that, there's so many different things to discuss. A lot of people were reacting, saying, "Oh, he had a wire, he had a mic, he had this, he had that."
Did you see it? Were you able to look at it?
Did you see it?
I saw him. He kept touching his ear, adjusting his ear.
Okay, perfect. I'm so glad. Even you. I'm so glad we're gonna get into that and have that clip.
It didn't look like that, though. It didn't look like that.
I'll tell you, have that clip ready.
I was looking for those Kamala Harris earrings.
But before, and by the way, it looks like that. Before we do that, go ahead and go into these. Go for it, guys.
When we set out to create a shoe that blends comfort, function, and luxury, we had the choice to make it fast. We had the choice to make it cheap. We chose neither. Instead, we chose Tuscany, Italy. We chose true Italian craftsmanship, each pair touched by 50 skilled hands. We chose patience, spending 2 years perfecting every detail, and we chose the finest quality at every step. Introducing the Future Looks Bright collection. Not rushed, not disposable, not ordinary. Rather, intentional, luxurious, timeless.
There you go. Go to vtmerch.com, place the order. By the way, I'm wearing I can't even show you the ones I'm wearing because I can't. I can't show you what I have on right now, but I can tell you I've been wearing these FLBs since September 9th, every single day except for 19 days. They're the most comfortable shoes I've worn with suits. When I tell you this, I do this all the time. I'm not just telling you this. This is literally all we wear here myself. So go to vtmerch.com.
Can I make a quick?
Yeah, of course.
You gifted me these, and I'm just being. I would take a lie detector test right now. I swear to everybody out there. You gifted me a pair of 2000. Remember the red bottoms that you gave me? The Louis.
Yeah,
what company is that, Pat? I'm not hating on
Luby
or whatever. You gave them to me. I wore them one time, and they were the most uncomfortable things I've. And mind you, they look great. Red bottom, whatever the hell that means. I've worn these things, no joke. Okay, you gave these 6 months ago? And I sprayed them once and I take care of them, and these are absolutely ridiculous. I freaking love. I wouldn't play soccer in them like you do, but
I think your red bottoms. Remember, your feet threatened to sue you.
Yeah, it was really, really bad. So those are not comfortable, especially if you have to walk around for freaking more than an hour. It's over, and they were digging into my legs, so they're freaking dope. Sorry, Pat, I had to give my testimony.
Yeah. So there you go. So with that being said, let's get right into it. So Candace Owens, Andrew Wilson debate, okay, that took place last week. There's a bunch of things I want to go through. I'm going to go through the earpiece. I want to go through certain moments. I want to go through, whose minds were changed, a few different things that happened. But before I get into my side here, I kind of want to ask you guys here, Adam, Vinny, Tom. Vinny, you were there with us while we went there. What part of it, when you heard the debate, from Candace's arguments versus Andrew Wilson's argument, which part were you like, oh, that's a good point by Candace, very good point by Andrew? Give moments of each side. Tom, I'll come to you first.
Well, there's two things, one each, and they happen very early in the debate. I always look for people that are saying, I have a fact and here it is, rather than the back and forth, or I sent you this email, that email. And what struck me from Candace is, and I looked it up during the debate, she talked about the degrading fingerprints and degradation of fingerprints on the weapon. I said, that's really interesting. That is a very interesting point to bring up, like who was touching the weapon. And I looked it up, and the police have to do this, like when there's a stabbing in a house, Vinny, and let's say it's a kitchen knife.
Yeah.
Kitchen knife can be used by multiple people in there.
It's everybody.
But what was the last or the most prominent fingerprint, and is it right-handed, left-handed? So the police are good at this, and I look at that and I go, that's a really good point to make about that. So it got me thinking that, all right, maybe was this gun tampered with? We now speculate 60 years later that James Earl Ray's gun may not have been the rifle that was actually used to shoot Martin Luther King. So I thought that for Candace was very interesting. Then when Andrew Wilson said, I have a text message here, and he read it of Charlie expressing concern for his own safety at the most highest level. They're trying to kill me. I thought, wow, Andrew, you better have that text message, and it better be able to be validated on servers by AT&T or whatever carrier, because you could easily get the validation. I had never heard that. And I'm just like, wow, that really told me Charlie's mindset. And my thought there was, good point, Andrew. You better be right that that text better really exist untampered.
Okay, Vinny.
Yeah, I'm going to piggyback off Tom's for Candace, besides the one that you're talking about, which I had to look, Tom, I looked it up and I kept Googling, and it was a great point because, mind you, let's just be honest, I don't think anybody is following the case and watching the hearings more than her. I don't. And another fact for her, for Candace, is she knew all 7 charges that were there. Andrew didn't know any. And people could say, yeah, but murder is the same as aggravated murder. It's absolutely not. One carries a death penalty, so that was good. And then I'm going with Tom. The fact that he's read a text saying that the left wants to kill me, and he made a good a point about burden of proof. Like, finding holes in the government's case doesn't automatically prove the theory. But if you're saying Tyler was a patsy, eventually you have to connect those dots with evidence. So I agree with him on that. But yeah, I think it was the charges, her name, her knowing him accusing her of using her phone, and then you reading it, and then her knowing all of them like that, not being on her phone, and then him not knowing one was a bad look. But I do think him having a text saying they're trying to, he was talking to security, asking for how many people were involved, and then he said, hey, just to let you guys know, let security know their job is to protect one person, me. That's it. Which we could get into that later, Pat, about how why they let anybody up there. But that's where I'm at.
Adam.
So you want to know what we liked or what we didn't like, or what?
Moments
Okay.
that may have changed your mind to say, hey, that was a good moment for Candace. That's a good question. That's a good moment for Andrew.
Well, I'll say this. Wow, is she confident? I respect her confidence. And just because you're confident doesn't mean you're right, though. In fact, a sign that maybe you're too confident is maybe not having facts, but having a ton of feelings and vibes and intuition and mobby intuition. But just because you're confident doesn't mean that you're right. I do respect her confidence. Anyone that is ever looking to be more confident in anything, whether you're right or wrong, watch Candace. The challenge that she has is none of the facts add up. The part that I liked about what Andrew did was at the end, was he like, yeah, she's got nothing. It was 4 hours. How long was it? I watched the whole thing. And I'm waiting for the shoe to drop. And I wait for his closing statement, and not the best salesperson, not the most likable guy, Andrew. He says that, but he's a very gifted debater. And I was waiting for the moment where she got him, but she didn't. She has all intuition.
So who do you think won the debate?
If it was, if you're judging on style and on confidence, Candace. If you're judging on facts and evidence, then him. So it all depends on what you're looking for here.
Candace won. She got $300,000 for someone to come in her basement and talk to her about a case. Candace is the winner. But you're wrong about facts, and I understand emotions and whatever. She knew the charges. She talked about the DNA. The photos were all blurry. The license plate, nothing. I mean, if you think about it, this is a hard thing to prove winner. But when somebody comes to your crib and pays you to come in there to talk to you, you're the winner.
Oh, no doubt. She made money from this. But that doesn't mean you're the big winner, chicken dinner.
No, but I think...
Who do you think won the debate? Forget the money. Who do you think won the debate?
I think Candace edged him out.
Look,
especially with Adam, because here's the thing. Unless you could prove without a reasonable doubt that this guy did it and other people were
involved. Do you feel that way the moment we were in the bus talking, or do you feel that way now?
I've watched it twice now. Right. I think Andrew did very well. He's a great debater. But with everything happening, Vincent Oshana, still believes, Pat, in my heart of hearts, this dude did not act alone, period. I think he was involved. I think Tyler Robinson was involved. But there's no way anybody, I don't care who walks in here, can prove to me that this dude, this random...
By himself.
Right.
Yeah.
Pat,
George Zinn, standing
I love
up,
that you just said that.
Yeah.
This dude stands up.
Who else
I'm on the same
Tom.
page. This, to me, feels a lot like Kennedy. Was Lee Harvey Oswald there? Yes. Did the Carano, I believe it's called Carano, carbine, did it fire 3 shots? Yes, it did. But did Oswald do all that, and were there not others? No. And so I don't think this guy acted alone.
So who do you put that won the debate?
I think Candace, moved me a little bit more toward not Patsy, but this guy didn't act alone. She moved me a little bit more. I was already on that road, moved me there. But I thought Andrew, in terms of my debate judgment, I just don't think he was as effective in the debate issue.
So the thing with the thing with selective hearing is anytime you want something to be right, for you to be like, I told you, I told you, that's it, like the earpiece, right? Can you play this clip? This went viral all over the place. Play this.
Good to see you, General Holt.
Yeah.
What's in that? What is that? What is that?
That's an earpiece.
Was that legal?
It's not like I'm out there saying big lie.
You see how he's touching his earpiece?
Yeah.
Was he wearing an earpiece?
100%.
He was.
Wait a minute.
100%.
What do you mean he was wearing an
Candace
earpiece?
have it too?
Are you ready?
Okay, go.
That's Candace's earpiece.
What does that mean?
They gave that earpiece to all of us.
So they had it too.
No, but wait a minute. Watch what just happened.
Yeah.
The market believes he had an earpiece of things being fed to us. That was an earpiece that Candace's producers gave. Candace gave him.
They hear everything.
gave
You guys
me.
behind the scenes.
So
Is she going to say that on air?
She would easily. I don't think she would have a problem.
Yeah.
I think she will. I don't think she has a problem with that. But that is their earpiece. Okay, yeah. That is their earpiece. Again, remember, if you truly want something to be right, you're automatically going to go look for anything to say. I told you. I told you. No, that was their earpiece. It was a very professional earpiece that they handed us, which I think was actually,
What was the earpiece for?
Because there is no audio for us to watch the clips.
Oh,
like
gotcha.
you see how
so
I'm
like how we're
sitting-
wearing headphones?
Yeah. So
How you're wearing an earpiece right
because
now?
they don't scream like you scream, so they keep a little bit lower. So they
say it
they
nicer.
they
I'll say
had
it nicer.
because my ears are blowing up with you screaming today, but I had to lower the audio. No, but they put this earpiece, so when you're listening to the clips from the back, that's not somebody feeding him anything. Okay, while that's going on.
Okay.
Number two, there were 3 people in the back that they both negotiated, and Candace and Andrew. Candace is like, fact check anything. Send anything. There was no restrictions on the fact checking. That happened. Fact check anything, send the clips, do whatever you want while you're showing those clips. The other part is, like, this is the conversation I have with Ben Shapiro as well. And guys like Ben Shapiro and Andrew Wilson have to ask themselves this question. There's 2 things. There is finding people who agree with you, then there is converting. So you're going into this. Candace's live stream is hitting what? 220,000, 250,000, close to 300,000. 3.5 million people watched it on just her channel for 24 hours. On our channel, 1.5 million. This thing got hundreds of millions of views on Facebook, Instagram. This is probably a multi-billion view debate that took place. If you collect what? The TikTok clips, Vinny, if you collect Instagram, everywhere, it's a couple billion views. Yeah. Okay, it was trending on X for 48 hours. If your job is to convert and you say all women are retards, you're kind of automatically,
That's
that whole
what Andrew Wilson said, you're saying.
If you watch a debate, when
all
Candace
of them are
says,
retarded.
you said this about Erica Kirk, and he says, no, that's not just Erica Kirk. I believe that about all women. Okay, guess what you're not doing? You're probably not converting anybody, and you're only talking to your base. So the most important data to look at wasn't who won the debate. Of course, that's important to ask on different platforms. I think on the podcast at the end, the number was 52-48. Was that what it was, 52-48? Andrew Wilson was on the podcast. But
what do you mean 52-48?
Who won the debate?
Yeah.
But on
so it's
X,
basically 50-50.
Not on X, it's 68% Candace. So you can run that poll in different places and get different results. And by the way, on X, it had 151,000 people that voted for it. So that part is taking place. But to me, when Andrew came in, he is obviously the more guy that does structured debates as he's going through it. Like, he knows how to do structured debates. And at the beginning, when I asked the question, I said, what is the percentage, 0 to 100%, that Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk?
Or something, right?
He said 75%, and she said what? 0, right?
Well, that's where she lost me.
Right. And again,
you're going to say 0%?
But that's the point.
0?
I understand, but that's her position, and she loses guys like you.
What? 0?
Adam, both.
At least say 1%.
But you know how many people that are
0%.
You know how many
Tyler
people,
Robinson?
you know how many people that are part of Charlie Kirk were upset that Andrew Wilson said 75%, not 100%. That's the same way that you're saying 0. Some people are like, why wouldn't he say 100%?
Sir, respectfully, there's a big difference between 75%, which means more than likely, and 0%, which gives you 0 wiggle room.
I understand
what's going to happen when the actual trial starts, not a random debate.
Adam, what are you doing?
I'm sorry.
Then I asked Candace, I said, Candace, can anything change your mind? She said, yes. If something happens today, I would be the first one to say it. That's good for her to say something like that, right? And then a couple other things in regards to the fingerprint. Yeah, that was an interesting back and forth. The part about her reaching out and Tulsi Gabbard's team doesn't get back to them, why don't you? Why don't you? Like, let's just say if I'm running a department in the White House and I have a big position and one of the biggest podcasters sends a message saying someone's trying to take her out, whether there's a less than 1% chance, what are the chances I'm not going to have Tom just call and just have a conversation with her? What, to tell me what if something like that happens to us, you don't think I would send somebody from our team to drop a call and say, can you just call Candace and see if everything's okay? You don't think we would do that? We've done a million different things. You don't think Tulsi Gabbard knew about that email? Just drop the call. Why don't you make the call? You know, so imagine if something did happen to Candace right afterwards, and that email is documented that was sent, and Candace is willing to give you names and stuff. You don't want to call? Whether you believe her or not, it's one of the bigger podcasters in America. I think you should call. They didn't make the call.
You're saying that Tulsi Gabbard
you remember that part? Remember that part?
What she brought up.
You just need to make that phone call. So the earpiece, BS, all the conspiracy people that wanted that thing to be right, that's Candace's earpiece team that gave it to them.
That's fair.
Let me just go through my stuff. I'm going to give you guys thoughts to respond. The retarded comment, if you're in the business of converting, you have to understand your job is to baptize. If you're trying to get people into thinking your way and giving them this much doubt, probably not a good idea to come to the people and you wanted to convert and say you guys are retarded. It's not a good idea. The woman comment, and then what else you got? Phone. Oh, when Candace handed me the phone, that was such a weird moment. I'm like, okay, here, look at my phone.
That was so awesome.
I'm like, listen, I don't want to look at your phone. She says, no, you can look at my phone. So she answered, go look at my Signal messages. And while I'm looking at this phone, in my mind, you guys know this is such a, we do this here on the podcast. Yeah. When you hand me the phone, I just wanted to say, Benjamin Netanyahu, call me after the podcast. I wanted to say, you're doing great work. I just wanted, but then I said, it's not appropriate to do it right now. But when the phone was handed for me to read the text, you know, there was nothing there. There was nothing for you to see with Signal and X. And look, the level of intensity for something like this is so high when you're sitting there. Of course, tensions are going to be high. You got to give credit. Candace was cool, just stood there, did her thing. And Andrew, this is optics. This is purely optics. The leg moving like this nonstop and all that stuff. And by the way, he has that temperament anyways. That's his personality. So for people that don't know him, you know, people who don't know him, they realize, like, that is his personality. You know who I will say won? Here's who I will say won. I will never give my opinion on who won publicly because that's not the job of a moderator. That's the job of everybody else to go out there and say. So once you're in that situation, it's me undermining the two people that are the number one product for them to come to their part. I give my thoughts. But I'm going to say this. I think both of them won, and I'll tell you why they won. Forget about the financial stuff. There was a bunch of things we had to do. By the way, this thing almost didn't happen until last minute. It was nasty. Lawyers going back and forth. I'm in the email chain while we're going back and forth. Calls, what about this, what about that? They made it work. They actually made it work. But I think Candace won because she got the money and she presented her argument. And in an area where she conceded, she says, I don't know why you're playing this video. I already conceded to you. And I said, yeah, I was wrong. And she did that. So that was good for her to do that. And I think she got in front of an audience and moved some people that probably don't watch her content. Remember, baptizing is key. Baptizing is key. And I think Andrew Wilson won because, let me explain it to you how much he won. And I think he won more than Candace won. And my argument's going to be very, very weird. You ready?
Go ahead.
You ready? Give me exact what you think. Total eyeballs. Matter of fact, can you ask this on ChatGPT or one of these guys? Can you give me a rough estimate of how many total views the Candace Owens, Andrew Wilson debate got if we combine all the clips on YouTube, all the clips on X, all the clips on Instagram, all the clips on TikTok, all the clips on Facebook, all the clips on every social media site of other people reacting to it, not just the fact that Candace's live stream had 250,000, we had 75,000, and his own had 30,000, the amount of subscribers. Give me total amount of viewership that this debate got all in, whether it's a short clip to the viral clips, all of it. What do you think that number is? I want to know what that number you think it is, Vinny. Remember, at one point within a 24-hour period, there was 150,000 posts just about this debate on X. How many total views you think it got?
The entire debate on all platforms.
Everything combined. I have a guesstimation of what I think it is. Give me a number what you think it is. You think it had 500 million views?
I think it was over 500
Tom, what would you say? You're a numbers guy.
And it's still
Some
going.
would say you're a bigger numbers guy than me. So what would you say as a numbers guy?
You better scream, Tom.
Give me a number.
Grand total?
Grand total. All in. From a small clip that a regular YouTuber posted that got 88 views versus somebody that put a reaction. Can you just type in on YouTube?
I'll tell you what I think.
Type in Candace Andrew Wilson. Just type in Candace Andrew Wilson. What do you think the number is?
As of right now?
As of right now, to go to filter popularity.
I think if you put everything in there, how can this thing not be a couple 100 million views?
Okay, so give me a low number, Tom.
200.
200 million views. Your high number is what?
I'm going high. I'm going almost 500 million. And mind you, it's this week. By the end of this week, it'll hit 500 million.
You're adding everything
so
up
check
that
this
was
out. You ready, Tom?
Yeah.
You ready, Tom? How much is a 30-second commercial for Super Bowl to get in front of 100 million people for only 30 seconds?
5 million. 7 million?
Can you pull up the chat GPT and ask the question?
Is it more? Did it go
How much is it?
I thought we had crossed 10 million a minute.
How much is a Super Bowl, 30-second Super Bowl commercial? Watch this.
Tom?
Depends on where it is, but in the Super Bowl, not one of those preliminaries.
8?
I think it increased.
8 million. So
no,
check this
and
out.
a handful of
30
premiums I've sold. Yeah, I thought
10
we
million.
were over 10
but
million.
let's just say 8 million. For how long? For 30 seconds.
30 seconds.
The guys, if you use the lower number and we just say 100 million times 2 is 200 million, 8 million times 2 is 16 million, this guy spent $300,000 and got somewhere between 50 to $200 million of ad viewership.
Yeah. Great point.
So guess what?
He's a big winner.
My wife at home says, who was the guy? I'd never seen him before. My dad says, I've never. Most people, his YouTube channel only had 180, 200,000 subs.
Yeah.
Very good, eloquent. I've had him on. He's been on Rogan a couple times. So he's getting the momentum. I think Andrew Wilson won because for everybody that says, what an idiot to give $300,000, I think it's the same story as Kanye spent $7 million on an ad for Super Bowl and sold $25 million of merch. I think Andrew Wilson won because overnight now everybody knows who he is.
Yeah.
Very simple. So from the business standpoint, Andrew Wilson made a lot more than $300,000.
To a young
right.
person who is very uninformed, says, why is Candace and the Gladiator guy doing that debate about Charlie?
The Gladiator. Kind of got a Russell Crowe vibe.
Go ahead.
Well, the reason I agree with you is this. There's levels to this thing. So if you didn't know who Andrew Wilson was, he's very big in the manosphere or in like the red pill content.
Yeah.
He's on whatever. Then you have political content, which is a little bit bigger. Then you have pop cultural content. And people always ask me, what happened with Candace? What happened with Candace? This is my opinion. I think she said political content is declining. But you know what's not declining? Conspiracy theories, murder mysteries, pop culture. Jeffrey Dahmer's the #1 show on Netflix. So like a Scooby-Doo type thing. She's like, I'm going to follow the crowd. And you win the crowd, you win your freedom. And I actually respect that. I don't respect the methodology which she's doing it, which is basically trampling on a widow's, on a widow and her kids.
So,
but I respect the fact what her game plan is.
Guess what? Then TPUSA, sue her. Then
They're
TPUSA,
probably considering it.
Do something.
Well, did you see the part where he asked her point blank, will you say on camera right now that Erica Kirk or TPUSA were involved in the murder?
Won't say
She said, I won't say that.
It's a lawsuit, but she's already said it a couple other times.
She's already insinuated so many times. That's the challenge I have.
But listen.
Did she not say straight to jail? Straight to jail.
There's
Monopoly.
There's not a lot of things. There's not a lot of, because right now, nothing matters more than Charlie Kirk to me. Nothing.
I love that you just said that.
Nothing matters more to me than Charlie. My loyalty, and by the way, just so everybody says, all you guys did it for money. Just so you know, they offered to pay me to go. Let me, just so the audience knows, this is the part nobody knows. I didn't take a penny for this thing. How much you think the PJ costs? How much is jet fuel to go there and back, Tom? $50,000?
And it wasn't a small jet.
But you don't understand. We didn't take the money. We didn't take any money. I didn't say, hey, Candace, you got to pay us. Or they offered. Andrew's like, no, we're going to pay you full cost, whatever you need. Don't worry about it. I don't need the money. To me, it's Charlie Kirk. I want this thing to be done, and let's find out what happened and moved on. Because his kids are the ones that are going to have to, for the rest of their lives. I remember one time I had Bobby Kennedy there, and we started talking about his dad. And he wrote a book about it. And nobody studied that more. And I don't know if people know or not, Bobby was a drug addict for 14 years. After what happened to his dad, you guys know he was a heavy heroin user. Did you know that?
Heroin?
You didn't know this? He openly talks about.
I know he's had some health issues.
Bobby Kennedy.
Heroin?
You seriously didn't know?
I didn't know he was doing
He
heroin.
is openly talking.
Here we are talking about Hunter
Bro,
Biden.
are you kidding me? When you lose your father, who was supposed to be the president, and he's your hero, and your uncle, they get killed. Go ahead and go grow up and be an average person. My concern are his kids. That's my number one concern. And number two, TPUSA still being an eyeball to young men. Well, they're not doing that today.
That's true.
They're not doing that today. That's the priority for me. So all this stuff that happened here, all the conversations that we're having, I think, hopefully we're going to see how TPUSA reacts to it. And FYI, to the hospitality part, everybody in the studio working with Candace, respectful, very easy to work with. Everybody working with Andrew Wilson's people, they were also very respectful. We were in a group text because I'm grouped them. They don't realize they're not used to our speed. I'm like, hey, guys, get this ready. I'm like, oh, shit, Pat's texting while he's doing the live. While I'm sitting there. The funniest meme I said, there was a lot of funny things that I saw there. This guy named Nasser posted this, and he said, used car salesman sells mixed race couple a 2009 Dodge Charger.
32% APR. That's like your Mitsubishi Eclipse.
It is.
That's
and
actually
I
hilarious.
responded back and I said, this is slander. I would never sell a Dodge. I'm Team Ford all day long. By the way, go a little bit lower. Somebody posted a picture, which is a better one. This is the picture. Zoom in on this picture. Click on the picture, please. This is what it would be. It would
what do I need to do to get you guys in this debate today, guys?
This is what it would be.
Can I also say who I think legitimately won?
Who's this?
I think the audience was served very well.
Yep.
I think, and I know you would never admit this, I think that you were the big winner because I know you, and I think in the marketplace, trust and credibility, your score increased. I think there's a lot of people that maybe never saw PBD do something like this. And I know your instinct said, this is not about me, this is about them. I'm assuming that's why you sat kind of further back. I think the marketplace said, wow, that's the guy that needs to host these types of debates.
Probably the best compliment I got is from Candace fans telling me you were fair, and Andrew Wilson fans saying you were fair. Because both sides were kind of like saying this is going to be, and remember, guys, for some of the people who are like, well, I would have moderated this way and all that stuff, you don't know what they agreed on.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like, people realize, like, this, like we do a moderation with the gubernatorial candidates. That was an easy moder, boom, 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 boom. I'm controlling it. But there was certain things they agreed in the contract or lack of proper business agreement that they did that didn't give a lot of power for Andrew to go, and that's part of the deal. And so I don't want to get into details. They could have done a better job negotiating for him to have been able to push where some moments she didn't answer the question because they didn't negotiate that. So that's the part where you're like, why did she say this? Listen, negotiate better. Negotiate better. And that was his ask. His ask was for him to be in the defense that there was overwhelming evidence that Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to get into details because that's their business if they do so. But
do you guys feel bad for Tyler Robinson?
Why would I feel bad?
No, because and I'm not even joking, if there's a 0% chance that he was the killer, as Candace claims,
the killer or
that means that he's an innocent man who's in jail right now. And that's a challenge that I have, is that if he is innocent, there's an innocent man sitting in jail right now whose family and lover has turned him in. So I'm a little confused right now.
Andrew Wilson said, if your son was wrongly convicted of killing somebody, wouldn't you as parents come out and keep saying, hey, this is not fair? You typically would see this. And we have not seen this. The parents are saying, no, he killed.
That's the challenge I have.
And again, this is why this allows the audience to go and do their own research and be a follow-up.
That's fine.
So great. So let's see what happens.
And I'll just end it right here. The 0% thing is what I have a problem with. If she said 1%, I'll say at least you're giving yourself an out.
Yeah.
0%, you're saying Tyler Robinson is the killer? Maybe we're all due.
Which I don't listen, I don't agree with, but my point, and a lot of people are making, he is involved for sure. I don't know the percent, because guess what? There's still a trial, and like I said,
Candace doesn't know
here's
the
my
percent.
question.
She still said 0.
I'm
What
being honest.
You were there.
None of us have been following the trial at all. Zero. Have you sat there and watched any of it, Adam? No.
I've watched a lot of it, yes.
You've watched all the preliminary hearings and the.
I've watched a lot of the.
So what was the most compelling thing for you that you think it was Tyler Robinson? What was the number one thing that stood out for you?
There's so much evidence
Okay,
out here.
give me one.
Here's the question. What is the evidence that you have that it's the French Legion, that it's Israeli propaganda, that it's Egyptian planes?
Hold on.
There's a million more evidence.
You didn't answer my
Hear me out.
I
Just
asked
listen.
you a question.
There's a million more evidence that it's Tyler Robinson other than any other conspiracy theory out there.
Can I ask you a
You think
question?
it's his exploding microphone?
No, can I ask you a question,
Is
Adam?
it the video? Is it the admission? Is it,
and again,
is it everything that they brought
a
up?
question, and you're just
I've
going to
brought
try
up
to talk
everything.
over me because I
Go
asked
ahead.
you a question. I don't think that you sat there and watched, unless you're home, sitting at home watching all this. My thing is this, questioning the official narrative, and he brought up JFK and RFK and everybody. Yeah. JFK, the president of the United States, was murdered in front of everybody 62 years ago, okay? And the guy that, Adam, now with all the documents that were released less than a year ago, CIA involved, Lyndon B. Johnson involved, all these guys, and the guy that shot him, Lee Harvey Oswald, said out loud, I am a patsy. And what happened to him, Adam? In the basement of the Dallas jail, he's shot by Jack.
Let's live in reality today, not in
hold on.
1963.
Do me a favor, because I just want to, my point is being, he was shot in the stomach by Jack Rubenstein, and then Jolly West, a CIA, MK Ultra research guy, goes in, talks to him. He says, put a needle in me, and he lost his mind. So are you ready for this? That's 62 years ago. Now we're just finding out, oh my God, wait, the CIA and all these people did it? So to act like this can't be some crazy people involved, because here's my point. Pat's an entrepreneur, right, Pat? You know everything, and Tom as well, anything that has to do about the profession, meaning hiring, scaling, acquisition, negotiation, selling. You are a pro at this. Hands down, you and Tom are the best that I've ever seen do it. When you're in the business of assassination, Adam, guess what you're really good at? Killing and covering your tracks and getting away with it and having this big umbrella of, it happened with JFK. Don't throw it away that, hold on, living in reality. They killed the sitting president in front of everybody, and everybody knows now all the people involved, but they're all dead. So we can't do anything. So when I say I believe, I'm not getting into schematics, Adam, because I haven't seen all the stuff because the trial hasn't happened. What I'm saying is all the little stuff of digging up the place where he was shot, getting rid of him there and cleaning the thing, and George Zinn, who, by the way, obstruction of justice, the moment Charlie was shot, you mean to tell me this dude knew to stand up because he said when he was arrested, I did it to let the killer get away. Think about that.
Is he on trial?
And I love that you just said that. I hope this guy gets brought into that courtroom and, hey, who told you? Because he told people in the hospital, yeah, I was supposed to get paid for doing it, but nobody paid me. Those nurses, those medical professionals, this is a big freaking case that none of us, Adam, you're saying that you watched it. There is so much evidence and stuff. Yeah. You can't say anything. Your question to me was
whether I've watched 10 hours or 100 hours is irrelevant to me. That's like asking, saying, how much Epstein coverage have you followed?
A lot.
Okay. So am I questioning how much you've researched Epstein?
No, but you question a lot during the how many podcasts have we had where you're like, it's not even a big, who cares? Whatever. Move on.
I don't understand. What's your point?
What's my point?
You haven't made a point.
When it came to Epstein and stuff, you're like, it doesn't really matter. Who gives a damn?
But you're asking me about Tyler Robinson.
I'm asking you about.
I believe that that's the murderer. And if you show me evidence that it's anything else,
okay,
bring me actual evidence. Not George Zinn standing out there, not an Egyptian plane, not an Israeli conspiracy theory. We know what I always find funny about the Israeli conspiracy theory?
I didn't say anything about that.
I'm saying this. You know what I always find funny? What book have I been reading for the past? I've read it again now, which is Stop in the Name of God, Observing the Sabbath, How It'll Change Your Life. You're telling me that Charlie Kirk, who spent the last year of his life writing a book about the Jewish Sabbath, is going to automatically flip on Israel? Not buying that. By the way, you know what would be so simple? Rather than eliminating Charlie Kirk, just eliminate the people that are actually sowing discord and chaos in the marketplace. Why would you take out your best free agent? That makes no sense to me. So to me, all these stories, we've talked about signal versus noise at this company for 2 years now. A lot of noise, a lot of BS, no actual evidence. That's the challenge I have.
Well, let's go to the next story. Let's go to the next story. And again, this sparks the conversation, and people talk about it. And hopefully, as we're going through this, even Vinny, if they show proof at the end that Tyler Robinson is charged, kind of like Luigi Mangione, If he comes out and like, do you believe Luigi Mangione killed?
He confessed.
So if Tyler Robinson confesses, do you
Absolutely.
believe it? So if Tyler
Robinson goes, I killed him,
comes out and said, I killed him, you say it's done. Forget about it. He killed him.
Not forget about it. Did he work with other people?
No. If he comes out and he says, I pulled the trigger, I killed Charlie, are you done?
Yeah, of course. If Tyler Robinson comes out.
Similar to Mangione, because Mangione just came out. I just want to preface this because this is the part where some people, remember, Vinny, the moment I said earpiece, you said, oh my God.
I saw it. I didn't. I saw
but
the
you
earpiece.
jumped to conclusion thinking there's something there.
No, you said, is it an earpiece? Of
Vinny,
course I'm going to say he has an earpiece because I saw him playing in his ear.
That's not the point. That what I'm in the middle here of what I'm trying to, because my number one priority is what?
Charlie Kirk.
Charlie
Who
Kirk.
killed him? Who was in on it?
That's my number one priority.
Yeah.
It's my number. I showed up and didn't ask for a penny because I don't want people to say he got paid. I get paid $350 to speak for 1 hour to $500,000. That's my speaking fee today. I don't do. And we flew out. We asked for nothing. Not the hotel rooms, not the flight, not the food, nothing. I don't want any of it.
Yep.
Because we went for Charlie. And by the way, you made the money back. We have not. Yeah. Just so you know, all in costs. We have not. No. Exposure, fine. All that stuff, you can make that case. I went because Henry made a tribute for Charlie Kirk that we're going to play at the Vault conference.
Really?
Oh, man.
The room's going to be in those people who were at the Vault last year, who are in the room that we share this together, that moment when Tony Robbins is on stage going like this, nobody knows Charlie was shot and killed. This is happening while Tony's on stage going like this. Tony has no clue what's going on. He hasn't checked his phone.
No.
There is 6,000 people in that room jumping up and down with Tony. And then we have to come up on stage and Tom gets on his knees and drops that prayer. And you give me the signal and you ain't Kelly. I'm like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, I'm confused at this point, right? Yeah. So Charlie's my priority. But to me, it's also realizing if you have your own biases, your own bias to say, I want that to be right, you're only going to see this. You won't give any attention to this. You know what's the most important data? Who that thought Tyler Robinson is not the killer, did Andrew Wilson change their mind? What percentage? And who that thought Tyler Robinson is the killer, Candace Owens changed her mind, says he's not. It could be a patsy. That's the only number that matters. We ran that poll, actually. Can you pull up that poll? This is the poll that matters the most, believe it or not. Nothing is above it. Because the idea of trying to, that's what I say, who runs America in elections? It's who? Independents. Mm-hmm. Not the Democrats that are only going to vote Democrats and not the Republicans that are only going to vote Republican. You know why Stephen A. Smith's getting crushed? By the way, can you guys pull that up? I'm asking
which poll, Pat?
He knows what it is right here. Zoom in. Are you guys serious right now? You just texted it to me. This is so funny right now. They're showing me a complete different. Yeah. Okay. He literally texted to me multiple times. So just pull up what you texted me, guys, in the back. So this poll here explains whose minds were changed.
Okay.
That's it. Nothing else, nothing more, nothing less. This is the one that matters the most. I think you literally just sent it to me right here, guys. It's.
And what was the poll,
you see it?
Pat?
It's a poll. Okay, I'll just read it before they get it. So, time for a final verdict. Who won this debate? And who did you favor?
There it is.
Okay, going in. I favored Candace. Candace won, 39%. I favored Candace. Andrew won, 9%. I favored Andrew. Andrew won, 45%. I favored Andrew. Candace won, 8%.
So the 9 and the 8%.
The movable middle is
that's the number. So really the plus minus is what? What's the plus minus? 1.
1.
Towards Andrew.
Yeah.
Do you understand what just happened right there?
Yep.
No one's going to change your mind. No one's going to change the other person's mind that they're sitting there like there's no way. Like he's already said, you're already said. You guys are actually irrelevant because your mind is going to be like, no, I think.
I'm just following evidence.
And you're going to be like, no, I think there's something there in George's End. Those two communities, believe it or not, are not part of this. The people that are part of it is like, I don't know, man. I think there's something like Tom just said something. Tom's like, that whole thing with fingerprint, that's a little weird, right? Or somebody saying, man, that whole part about asking a question and you don't have a single evidence to show and valid. Ooh, I don't know why you're not showing it. You know, he's showing evidence. You said this and that's the part that matters. And let's see what the turnout ends up becoming. Luigi Mangione comes out and says the following. By the way, the interesting thing is Luigi Mangione admitting to it happened while we're live.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you know this or not.
During the debate.
While we're live is when it happened. While we're live. Luigi Mangione admits to shooting United Healthcare CEO as he pleads guilty in federal case. Admits. Okay, admits. This is not, somebody told me to do it, MK Ultra. This is not, there was a George Zinn, because there's not a George Zinn involved in this one.
No, he was on camera.
Luigi admitted to shooting United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson as he pleaded guilty Friday to 2 federal stalking counts, a dramatic turn in high-profile killing. After years of enduring severe pain from a broken back, I learned that United Healthcare would be holding its annual investor conference in New York City. Mangione, folks, this is shocking on what happened here. Check this out. He told the federal courtroom that when he learned there was a conference, he learned the conference's exact location by emailing the company posing as an investor with more than $50 billion in capital in an email. This is almost shocking when you read this, Vinny.
Yeah.
Before traveling to New York, I used a 3D printer to make part of a gun, and I equipped the gun with the silencer and a magazine. I shot Mr. Thompson, this is Luigi, in Manhattan, and he died. I knew what I was doing was illegal. U.S. District Judge Margaret Garnett accepted the plea. Sentencing is set for December 18. Thompson's family, his wife and mother in front row, their first courtroom appearance, called the plea an important step toward justice. In a rare statement, Mangione's attorney simultaneously filed to dismiss the separate state charges under New York's double jeopardy law. His state murder trial is scheduled for September 8th. So, if Tyler Robinson does the same exact thing that Mangione said, you're done.
Of course. Yes, and I want to ask you a question.
Yeah.
Do you think Tyler Robinson shot Charlie all by himself, meaning nobody else helped him? He just went on the roof with the screwdriver, did the gun, did everything, put it down.
By himself. I'll give you my answer.
Yeah.
That nobody else was involved and influenced it?
No, not influenced. No. Had a hand, meaning they planned. They said, okay, I'm going to do this. You go here at this time. We know the security, whatever. They're probably not going to check over here.
10% chance.
10% that.
But 10 is high, Vinny, for me.
I'm sorry. 10% that somebody else, other than him,
that he wasn't by himself.
Okay. 10% is high for you.
10% is high.
That means there's a 90% chance that Tyler wrote
all by himself.
That's what Pat just said.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's just math.
But 10%, where are you at?
Oh, I'm at 100. I'm at 100%. Somebody else was sitting down with him and they planned it.
And who could those people be?
I have no idea.
Speculate. Here, speculate. Who could those be?
Maybe somebody high up. Like, you know how we always find out these leftists that are high up that are paying for the dissent
Okay, so
in this
then
country?
let's go a little bit more specific with you, Vinny.
Yeah.
So let's go through who you think it could have been. So high leftist, George Soros,
or
Alex
Soros,
Soros,
who's the guy overseas?
the guy in Australia, whatever his name is. I know who you're talking about.
Singer.
Yeah. So let's put that. Let's put Israel. Give me a couple other options. Who else is one that's being accused that could have been here?
I mean, just the LGBTQ community or whoever.
Okay, perfect. Who else? Tom, who else would you put on that category? Because I'm going to ask you guys right now the same question. Leftists, Israel, LGBTQ, who else has been accused of having their hands? Can you guys in the back find out who else has been accused of having their hands? Who else has been accused?
Egyptian planes.
Okay.
Wasn't really Egypt.
I mean, we could just make stuff up at this point.
You're playing around. I'm not playing around. You are, though. I'm not.
You can make up anything, is my point.
You are.
How am I playing around?
For the top. Stop.
I said Egyptian planes.
Stop. I'm asking for top 5. Who else? Be reasonable. Who else in the top 5?
LGBTQ community.
I have that already. Who else? Is it fair it's just these 3?
Majority.
Leftists, leftists, billionaires like
the
somebody
CIA.
like
The CIA.
Oh, let's put CIA. Good. That's what I want. CIA. What else? The federal government?
I was going to say.
Would you put the CIA plus the federal
Erica
government?
Kirk and Turning Point USA.
Yeah. All right, let's go there. Erica Kirk and TPUSA. Vinny.
Okay.
I'm going to come to you first. Out of 100 of who could have been involved.
So this all has to add up to 100?
200. Like you said, 60% this. No, it's fine. I'll add it for you. Just lead with what is your highest, what is your lowest?
I think the highest would be somebody from these higher up leftists because Charlie's a political figure that's
do you want me to get rid of LGBT and just put it here, or that's different?
You could put, I think, shoot.
Because it's different, because these guys are money and power.
That's money
these guys
and
are
power.
just,
I would put those, those guys to me are at the top.
Leftists,
guys-
where do you put leftists?
60%.
Okay.
That it's somebody that wanted the biggest voice that was pushing conservatives towards Christianity and positivity and
Okay.
entrepreneurship.
Where do you put Erica Kerr, TPUSA?
I don't think Erica had anything to
So
do.
zero.
Zero.
Okay. Where do you put Israel?
5%.
Where do you put LGBTQ? I want you to write down yours as well because I'm coming to you guys. here in a minute.
LGBTQ, 15%.
Okay, and then CIA.
CIA,
CIA,
government.
federal government, FBI, like somebody in the
It's
government.
going to be low, maybe 10%.
Okay. So by the way, just so you know, 10, 25, you're almost there, 90%.
Okay.
So I get it. So your main thing is
I
your
think
highest
somebody-
is leftist, your lowest is Israel.
Yeah.
Okay, fair. Your lowest is TPUSA.
TPUSA.
Then Israel.
Yeah.
Okay, Tom, where are you at?
So I'm at 70 on the leftists.
Okay.
But to me, LGBTQ is with the left.
Perfect. So let's combine those
okay.
two together.
So I put them both together.
So, Pat, that could add to mine, too, then,
yeah, I have
right?
you.
Okay.
75 is where you're at.
And I'm at, Israel and the CIA, you may think I'm crazy, but I'm like, 15 each because somebody has to help somebody.
Yeah.
And
Israel and TPUSA.
No. Israel
CIA.
and CIA.
15 each.
Yep.
And you're zero at TPUSA.
Zero.
Okay. So you're saying the federal government or the Israel is tied for 15% each.
Yep.
And if you're at federal government 15%, who would that be?
Well, our
Is that from current administration or previous?
No. It's not current administration. This is the previous shadow government. This is Dick Cheney
It's
in the
important to
basement.
qualify that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I will
Your
say
same
that.
place as well.
Yes.
I'm in the same place
Okay,
as Tom.
Adam.
So I'm shadow government that predates.
I got it. That's actually helpful.
That's the deep
Adam.
state, Tom. Good.
Well, the number one question that I would ask is who's motivated by this and what's the incentive? And this is why I have my
Fair
answer.
question. Go for it.
My answer is 99.9% Tyler Robinson and the leftist agenda because he was incentivized to kill the person that he thought was the most outspoken against their agenda.
Great.
So to me,
99% is
and
Tyler
the
Robinson
reason-
and left.
I mean,
Yes.
their agenda
And
being
then
conservative
Israel
number one
and
draft.
CIA.
well, the reason that I don't have TPUSA, Israel, or maybe even the CIA is how does this advance their agenda at all?
Pick
How
one
does
because
this
you have
help-
1%. Where does your 1%
No, I have
go?
0.01%.
Where does that go?
CIA.
Okay, perfect. That's all I need from you. So you're putting zero Israel, zero. So what you guys all are saying, which is not some of the things that's being told. A lot of people would say Candace has had some positions with criticism toward TPUSA. All of you are at 0% that it's not Erica Kirk or TPUSA.
0%.
I don't see that. I don't
But
see.
what was Candace on this?
I don't know.
But I'm saying, like she said, 0% Tyler. So there must be an
she would
equitable
probably have a
distribution.
higher percentage of thinking that TPUSA may have been involved in some parts of this. But this is more a reasonable way of looking at it to say this is my position.
You said you're 90.
I'm 90 what?
You said you're 90% Tyler Robinson.
No. He
Didn't you
said
say that?
there was a
No,
10% chance that somebody helped him.
Oh, my apologies. But you said that means it's.
I am very, very little. I'm very little on where people are at. Yeah, very, very
What's
little.
your distribution?
If you give my distribution, I think if TPUSA and Erica Kirk thought there was a benefit for Charlie Kirk leaving, the TPUSA organization, until they get a male figure that's respected by other men, I hate to say this, they're going to be a female organization. No man will look up at Erica Kirk and say, I want to grow up to be like Erica
That's
Kirk.
true.
Men are not like that. They're not. So if automatically you put a female in this kind of, by the way, this is not in companies. There's plenty of female CEOs that crush.
But turning point.
But the
USA.
brand isn't to build men. The product is to build. The brand here is we're gonna raise strong men and
Yeah.
right?
Strong family.
So it's that's like all of a sudden PBD podcast. I change it from me to a female running this. The audience is gonna be like, well, you're 80% male audience. You just drop because you can't do that, right?
Yep.
So to me, I have a very low number here. CIA has to do a better job for me improving their trust. So there's always going to be somebody in this organization. Like when you see James Comey saying 86-47, I'm going to put a small percentage here that they could be involved, 10% here. And then for me, I'm going to go to leftist, pretty much 80-something%. I don't think Israel won from it, but I'll always put 1% there just in case. So I'm going to be 89% leftist, 10% CIA, 1% Israel. And I don't think TPUSA had anything. If they did, you're the dumbest criminals in the world. If they did. And I don't think that's the case. If they did.
Can we bring this back to Mangione? Because we were talking about Mangione.
Yeah.
Here's the challenge that I want people to think about. What percentage of the marketplace, after Luigi Mangione has admitted to killing the CEO, he stalked him, he printed the gun, he went there, he emailed them, he lied, he told them that he's an investor, showed up, killed him, boom, admitted to it. What percentage of the marketplace, especially woke liberal women, still think that he's innocent, or at least justified?
There's videos going viral
girls
saying
want
this guy
him.
was a revolutionary.
They love him.
This is my point.
They love
is
him.
that there's going to be a segment of the marketplace who...
Yeah, this is it. Is this the lady? Yeah, play this clip.
It is about Luigi, but it's also about the conversation he started. So if you were just here for
look at the
a free, fair trial for him, you know, that's not afforded to most people.
I see it more as a revolutionary act of protest, of the likes of which we haven't seen since the civil rights era. I want America to continue questioning, you know, our current predicaments and why we allow our futures to be stolen away by oligarchs.
So the challenge I have with that is it's okay to question. That's fine. Just asking questions. But once you get the answer from the person who actually, from the horse's mouth, then you at least have to concede, yeah, maybe let me loosen my position a little bit. These people are doubling down on dumb.
She's not, by the way, she's not saying he's innocent. She's saying good that he murdered.
Exactly.
She's saying, what she's saying is, hey, our
is
system is broken, kill and revolution at him. She's calling for, hey, listen, everybody else, you guys should start doing it. You should start murdering. By the way, the reason he's saying this and he's coming clean is because he's going to try to plead to where he's not going to get the death penalty, because guess what? Afterwards, the cops saw him. Where was he? At a McDonald's? Wherever he was sitting there, they're like, yo, they caught him after. It's not like there's like a question and there's no videotape of him. They caught him right after and arrested him. And there's, you know, evidence of, you know, fingerprints and all that stuff. But then it's now he's admitting it. That was him. Was it McDonald's? Yeah, he was at McDonald's.
So. I mean, this is the problem, is that even after admitting guilt, that people still are like, no, he's a revolutionary.
Remember,
that's like saying Tyler Robinson, if and when he admits to killing Charlie Kirk to basically escape the death penalty, there's people that are going to still say, well, maybe he was justified because LGBTQ rights come above Charlie Kirk's freedom of speech. To me, that is nonsense.
Well, you guys, the Night Stalker case in California, Richard Ramirez, bro, girls were showing up, crying, fighting for him because they wanted him. So
I'm not saying that liberal women shouldn't vote. I just think they should think twice before they do it.
Oh my God. So anyway,
Tom, any thoughts on this, Mangione?
Yes, I have an explanation for people if they really want it, and I'll make this really quick, Pat. So
we want it, Tom.
Why does he plead guilty? Why does he plead guilty?
You're talking about Mangione now.
To prevent from a death sentence? Is that why you think?
Well, basically, the capital murder part of this was already on edge, and this was going to be second-degree murder because the capital murder there's a certain spontaneousness to it. I'm not arguing that. I'm saying that's what's coming out of the motions in the court. And you have two courts, the federal court with the 2 stalking charges, and then you have New York court with second-degree murder. The reason they, and I think Mangione's lawyer is Agnifilio, I think, if I pronounce that correct. Agnifilio. If you guys could let me know.
The lady, yes.
Yeah, Agnifilio.
I think you got that one, Tom.
So this is what they're doing.
She's a strong lawyer. She's a heavyweight.
Yes, they are pleading guilty. No, I'm not endorsing Mangione anyway, and I'm not a fan of his. I'm letting you know how
Thank
this
you for
puzzle...
taking such a strong position.
No, because some people may think, you're doing this. No, this is how this is playing out. They are pleading guilty to the stalking charges. And in pleading guilty to stalking, you can say whatever the hell you want.
Yeah,
and so he says, I followed him, I shot him.
Yep.
He, Mr., sir, excuse me, sir, bang,
Sir, yeah.
right? Stop this. And now, here's what this triggers. No public trial. You don't put the public through that. You don't put the victim's family through that. You don't read testimony through that, and you're guilty to the 2 federal charges and you're waiting sentencing. What she has simultaneously done is she is filed under New York State's double jeopardy law. Do you know what the Fifth Amendment is? The Fifth Amendment is no double jeopardy. You can't be tried twice for the same thing unless...
Fifth Amendment?
Fifth isn't Fifth
Fauci?
the Fifth? Isn't Fauci the Fifth?
Yes.
Yeah, well, it's all part of it.
Okay.
And so what it is you can't be tried twice. Now, if there's a mistrial and we have to do a do-over, that's different. So In New York State, where this is, their double jeopardy clause, Pat, is actually thicker than the federal government's in terms of it's hard to.
Why is that?
It's just the way New York has made its laws on this. And so you have, if he's guilty on federal and then you go to the state trial, the penalties and the sentencing will stack on top. And you will have Judge Garnett at the federal level and Judge, I believe the name is Caro, Judge Caro, at the state level. So what they're doing, they're trying to take Judge Caro out of play, and by the way, that will happen in a ruling that has to happen before September 8th. So before September 8th, if New York and Judge Caro come back and say, you're right, this would be double jeopardy. We have a guilty plea because the double jeopardy in New York is based on the same criminal transaction. Well, the transaction was a killing. So guess what? His only shot at getting out in his 60s is that the federal judge gives him, say, 40 years, 45 years for this. And then he serves 85%, good behavior, and he gets out. That is the play that his team is trying to get here because death penalty is off the table. So that's what's going on. And they're if they get the ruling by September 8th, Judge Caro says, you're right, under the New York State double jeopardy, we can't try him because federal has already found him guilty by his own guilty.
Will this guy ever walk in the streets?
We will find out when Judge Judge Garnett does sentencing on the federal side. If he does 40 or 50 years, he could be out when he's 65 or 70 years old.
Or earlier, Tom, 50%. So he can be out in
85%.
Oh, it's 85%.
Apparently federal guidelines.
Got it. Interesting. Wow. So 85% means if you're getting 40, you're doing 35 of it.
Yes.
Yeah,
for sure.
You're doing 35 of it.
And so Agnifilio, I think this is good lawyering by Agnifilio, even though we all would like to see Luigi have not a penny spent by the taxpayers and go to execution. We would all, now that he's confessed, we would all like to see that.
I've had a call with his entire legal team, and they're strong. She's not a lightweight.
Does this line up with what you guys have
heard? It does. It does. We had a Zoom call with all of them, and they were. I mean, this is a W for them if they were able to pull that off. Would you say that,
Mangione?
Yes.
For them as lawyers, forget about
they're playing a logical game here. Plead guilty, no double jeopardy in New York, no trial in New York, no public reading, and all of that is going to be read to Judge Garnett. Judge Garnett, we saved the taxpayers' money.
Garnett,
we've saved the time.
Yep.
We've saved.
I know we're moving on. Weird question, and I appreciate what Tom is saying about Mangione. And you're saying a defense team. And is there any chance that Candace is working with Tyler Robinson's defense team?
I have no idea. I do think she's spoken to.
Family members, yeah.
She's spoken to a lot of the family.
That's what I'm saying. Are they working in conjunction on anything?
Conjunction, no. But if they're in communication, possibly, because she actually calls
because she believes that Tyler's innocent. That's the 0%.
That's
right?
the 0%.
Interesting.
Yes, that's the 0%. Let me continue. Let's go to the next story. Next story I want to get to is Lindsay Clancy. What a weird, dark story, folks. If you're not into it, you're not going to like this. But if you're into these murdery, mystery, all this stuff, this is just one of the weirdest stories I've ever heard in my life. Literally, it's one of the weirdest stories I've heard in my life. Lindsay Clancy's phone was used to search, can you treat a sociopath? On January 20, 2023, days before she killed her 3 children, a state police investigator testified at a trial Thursday. Jurors heard from Massachusetts State Police investigators Timothy and Sergeant Kyle Pavot on the forensic analysis of Clancy's phone and her ex-husband's Patrick Clancy's tablet. Clancy has pleaded not guilty to 3 murder charges and the death of 5-year-old Cora, 3-year-old Dawson, and infant Kaylin at the family's home in Duxbury on January 24, 2023. Defense lawyers don't contest she was responsible. They argue she shouldn't be held criminally responsible because she was suffering from postpartum psychosis. Are you kidding me? I'm struggling so hard because I wanted to parent each of my kids like my first, and since I can't, that's depressing to me, Clancy wrote an October 2022 phone note Per prosecutors, this is definitely the root cause of all our problems. She appeared frustrated with compromises around newborn Callan. I hate that he has to put himself to sleep. I'm sad I'm not breastfeeding anymore. Prosecutors are using their searches and notes to argue the killing were premeditated. The defense says they show a mind unraveling, that mind is unraveling. Vinny, do you have a clip on this?
I'm sending Connor right now. Connor, there's a clip of her in the courtroom. I think one of the medical examiners, Pat, is talking about Cora's autopsy. Pat, this gets me emotional because these kids are so young. She was 5 years old, and they're reading what was happening during this autopsy, and they have to call the freaking. Can you just play this clip? That's the medical examiner. Listen.
It could be a pattern, or it could be more developed types of injuries, such as bruising or abrasions. And what about
I can't
injuries?
Do it. Yeah.
All right, counsel could.
Who's crying exactly?
The mom, the murderer.
The murderer.
Yeah.
We're going to take a break this time, all right?
All right. George, close your notebooks. Place them on the chairs, please.
Most disgusting stuff. Oh. She deserves every single emotion she's feeling. Disgusting person.
Oh. Okay, you can stop it,
why is she
Connor.
crying,
Thank you.
Vinny?
So, Adam, think about it. She killed, Cora was 5, Dawson was 3, and Callan 8 months old. Okay? Okay, so now prosecutors are saying that she deliberately, these are prosecutors, not me, sent her husband out for takeout and medicine, giving herself a window. So she brought them all downstairs in the basement and used, exercise bands, Pat, and strangled all of them.
my God.
The defense is saying...
With exercise bands?
Exercise bands. And mind you, choke, squeeze them out and kill them one at a time while the other ones are sitting in there watching their other siblings getting choked out, okay? And I'm going to get into it. So you talked about the postpartum psychosis, severe mental illness and all that stuff. And then there's a GoFundMe for her parents that are they're going to stand behind her daughter. It's raised $750,000. The goal is $2 million. And what makes it darker is the women on social media going, I know what she's feeling. There was a TikTok of a psychiatrist. You might be able to find that, Connor. I think it's a little bit long. How insane is that? They're publicly expressing sympathy for a mother who strangled her own children. And when you send your husband away, that's premeditated. You're like, honey, go do something so I could do this. All right? And that's absolutely ridiculous. We're already living in this culture, Adam, where abortion has made the killing of these children acceptable. And now you're watching people find ways to sympathize this, okay? That's dark. I don't care how you do it. But here's where we should never get lost in all this talk about postpartum depression and psychosis and all the medications and all that. She took her children in the basement and strangled them one at a time. Okay, they were trapped with the one person in this world they were supposed to freaking trust completely. Pat, imagine, guys, whoever's listening to this, wherever you are, with your kids are probably in the house if you're home. Imagine that fear, the confusion, okay? There's nowhere to turn to, there's nowhere to run, and mommy is choking and killing your other freaking brothers and sisters, and you're sitting there watching it, okay? Whatever happened in those final moments, they're dying in the hands of their freaking mother, okay? And that's why it makes the victim story. You're not the victim. The kids are the victim, okay? What she did was evil. She was a freaking monster. I don't care. Call her a demon. I don't care how uncomfortable it makes people. Okay, you killed all 3 of the kids, and if she's found responsible, Pat, for deliberately murdering them, she deserves the harshest punishment. And that's it.
Well, apparently she's already admitted that she did it. I don't think that's the deal.
Yeah, but they're playing when you have children, postpartum,
no,
you
they're
go
saying
crazy.
she was because she was dealing with bipolar disorder. So do not consent that Clancy was responsible for the deaths of 3 of her children. They argue that she was not held criminal responsible for their deaths because she was suffering from. I saw that, but there's also another one that says, they say she experienced an auditory hallucination, a voice telling her to kill her children and herself. This is substantial evidence because she experienced some psychiatric problems from before. She suffered severe insomnia, anxiety, and suicidal thoughts, sought help from numerous providers, contacted a suicide hotline, admitted herself to McLean Hospital, and researched postpartum depression, psychosis, hallucinations, schizophrenia, and bipolar disorder. Another major defense argued is medication fragmented psychiatric care. In roughly 4 months, she was prescribed 13 different psychiatric medications and more than 30 prescriptions, including antidepressants, psychotics, and benzos. Her defense argues that the changing medication and inadequate coordination between providers contributed to her deterioration.
Yep. They're going to try to pin it on the medical establishment.
Yeah, well,
and not her.
so you all that stuff, and she's not medically admitted into a hospital. Give me a freaking break, because at the end of the day, somebody has to pay for those 3 kids.
What is this video here?
She's paying.
Oh, Pat, this is a
therapist. This is the
therapist basically saying, like, guys, if you've had kids, you understand.
Press play.
Yeah, go ahead.
Clancy trial is going to be one of the most significant trials of your lifetime. We are all experiencing something completely unprecedented. Never before have we seen so many mothers and women rally behind somebody who confessed to killing her 3 children. And it is not because we cannot hold women accountable. Many of us see ourselves in Lindsay. Many of us know that we could have been only one step away from doing some of those horrific things.
What is she talking about?
We experienced significant mental health issues.
Killing your kids!
After one of our children was born. And many of us know just how dark some of those thoughts get.
I've never heard of it. Do me a favor, go back.
Go
back to her account. Go all the way to the beginning. Go all the way to the beginning.
That is disgusting.
Look what it says on her profile. Strong therapy, Jess. Yeah. Liberal voice on politics, culture, society, anti-racist, anti-fascist, pro-LGBTQ.
Of course.
Do you understand what she just said? She basically just said, the women out there.
Do you think she has kids, this
yes,
lady?
she does.
This lady.
I think she does.
Therapist?
I think because you know what she's saying, Adam? We've all thought of killing our kids when they've gone, because, you're depressed after you. What are you even talking about? How do you post something like that? And so basically what? So they're trying to get this Lindsay freed off what technicality. She was crazy. She was losing her mind. I'm sorry. 3 children are dead. And again, I'm going back to imagine, Adam, you're 5. I remember when I was a kid. I remember 5. I remember things that my mom would do to me when I was that age. You're watching her strangle and kill your brothers and sisters.
Oh, God.
And you're in those final moments. I am sorry, guys. I'm sorry. We always talk about accountability. She has to be held accountable. I'm sorry.
Well,
I'm so sorry.
Of course she does.
And because my thing is this, if you send somebody out, Adam, if your wife goes, hey, go get medication, go get takeout, you're planning it. It's not like in a moment where she just grabbed them and stabbed them. She brought them into the basement, she grabbed the exercise bands, and she strangled them to death.
Well,
okay? I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry.
Let me ask the guys with kids here. I mean, look, I'm not making light of this. My mother always says, I brought you in this world. I'll take you out of it. I've never took that literally. But have you guys ever experienced anything with this postpartum depression? Tom, PBD, is this something that women have talked about in your life?
So
or your wife's friends or anything?
Tom.
Yes. Women talk about postpartum depression a lot. And apparently, not apparently, it is clinically shown to be a real thing. That sometimes after having a baby, there is an emotional response that's here. Now, that's part 1. And then part 2 is, I do not believe, based on what I've heard many counselors indicate that, postpartum depression is made worse by someone who maybe is a drug user or already had, psychological things, or is, a deep depression, or, schizophrenia, bipolar disorder. It is that it just makes that worse. So in other words, a person who, already has diabetes that gets lupus, that's bad. You know what I'm saying? Because you're already sick. I'm using that, a stacking effect. And so postpartum depression and counseling is to be treated very seriously. But the issue is, if somebody was already, had issues ahead of time, Pat, it just makes it worse. And the people running to her are people, remember, the postpartum tribe is also trying to create a victim tribe, taking nothing away from the disease itself. Remember, they become a special interest group of their own, and they have their own, what do we talk about? Their own concerns, their own motives, their own assumptions, their own fears, their own asks. And so they're out there. So it's very, very real. But when you stack it up and say, oh, we're coming to her defense, they don't know her other side. They don't know if she was bipolar. They don't know if she was using psych meds and she was having complication effects from the combination of meds. They don't know if she was possibly schizophrenic. They're hearing postpartum and they're running out to defend postpartum.
Right.
That's what's going on.
Good input.
This is dark.
Very.
I'm trying to see if this lady has kids. I can't find it. The lady, whatever her name is, something Jess. Jessica McNair is her name, and she's a licensed therapist associated with Falls Church Wellness Center.
A church?
And the creator behind Strong
Falls Church,
Therapy,
Virginia.
Jess. Yeah, I don't know what that is.
City.
But to have kids, this person's got kids, man. Imagine those kids go to school, and the friends and the teachers are like, you may want to kind of run away from that lady right there. It's my mom. Yeah. I'm telling you, you may want to
skedaddle,
protect yourself and see, where you're at. Go to the Trump one. Go to the Trump one that she has right there. Yeah, what does she say? Sorry for the jump scare. This absurdity posted across official social media channels for Trump and the White House. Okay, so she's a big-time Trump fan.
No.
Very, very weird that this is going on, and this is not the case with most mothers. This is the case with what Tom talked about, with the challenges, if you have additional personality stuff to add on top of that. Some people shouldn't have kids. I advocate a lot of people to have a lot of kids, but some people just should not be having any kids, man. They should not be having any kids. Some people are still kids dealing with their own trauma before all of a sudden you share that. I'm at a soccer game this week, and I'm watching Dylan play this game. And on the opposing side, there was his father. And the way he was talking to his kid, I was just listening to him. What when are you going to get? And the
Fussing
kid,
like in front of all the kids?
In front of all, but he's screaming at his son. And I'm sitting right there, and he's like 10 yards away to my left. His son is here about to throw the ball. And for about 20 seconds, he's waiting for the ref to make the call because there's, what do you call it, people coming in and out, subs. And I'm just watching him. And he's just looking at his dad. And he says, let me play the game. Let me play. Well, play the fucking. And I'm just like, oh, man. It's just a little too much, right, when you're watching this. He's probably dealing with the trauma, and what he's doing is that's how he was raised. So he's talking to his kid the way his dad talked to him and passed down. And I'm just looking at the kid. The kid is burned out. And by the way, he was actually a pretty good player. It wasn't like he was not a good player. He was a pretty good player. But, yeah, I don't know. This is a very, very difficult story to go through. But we'll wrap it up on this story. Actually, you know what? Let me wrap it up on a different story.
Yeah,
I'm trying to get to a different story to go to.
Mind, Pat.
Give me a story to go through. Give me another
something uplifting, optimistic.
Well, let me go to a different story. I'll tell you. I watched Dudley give a sermon this weekend. And he shared something that I thought was appropriate to share with everybody else. It was about marriage, husband and wife. So we sit there. We're watching the three of our kids are not feeling well. One of them was throwing up all night. Three of them didn't even go to school today. You know how it is, parents. When kids go back to school, well, you know how that works. The only one that went to school today is one of them, and I'll tell you guys afterwards who it is. He breaks down marriage. He says there's 5 different types of marriage out there, okay? He says the first one is the beautiful marriage. He says very rare, not a lot of them. Beautiful marriage, very rare. Number 2 is the blah marriage. We're just married. It's just like, whatever, we're just married. We did it. We're staying here. We're going to make it work, whatever. But it's blah. The third one is the brittle marriage. Roulette. Let's see if it's going to work or not. You're gambling. Fourth one is the bitter marriage. And the fifth one is the broken marriage. It's too late. They're getting a divorce. And then he gave some numbers, which was kind of wild. He says, a divorce happens every how many seconds in America?
5?
Every 30 seconds.
Okay. Yeah.
Which I thought it'd be like closer to 5. Yeah. But he said divorce happens every 30 seconds, which means during this podcast, you take, let's just kind of tell you how many divorces have happened during this podcast.
Let's just say 2 hours.
So let's just say 2 hours. If a divorce happens every 30 seconds and we did a podcast for 2 hours, how many divorces have happened during this podcast so far? So
that's 2 a minute. Is it 5,000?
That's 2 a minute, that's 60, 120, 122, 240. Is that what the number is? 240. Okay. Yeah. So 240 divorces
Guys, stay together during the podcast.
So far
during
this podcast. And he says the average marriage in America, how long do you think it lasts?
7
years. The average
years.
marriage. How much do you think it is, Tom? The average marriage?
No, I think it's, I know this. I'm going to mess this up, but I think it's 3.5 years.
13 years. He says the average marriage.
Average?
Him saying this. Tom, you're at how many years?
Oh,
average marriage is 13 years.
I was telling you average time to divorce.
Well, he says the average marriage
usually happen quick.
Yeah, the average marriage happens 13 years. The average age of somebody who gets a divorce is 41 years old. So if you're 41 years old, try to go to 42. You may kind of make it work, right? And he says the reasons for marriage not working out, number one is financial issues. Vinny, what's going on? Number one is financial issues. Number two is communication. Marriage. Number three is intimacy. Number four is broken trust. Number five is failed expectations, okay? And then as he goes through it and he's kind of breaking it down, you know, marriage wasn't meant to fix your problems, right? You're not getting married because your wife or your husband's going to fix your problems. Lack of knowledge, poor choices, you stop going to church. Couples who stop going to church, divorce increases. I had a couple of ours that had a meeting with one of their spouses. They're going through challenging times. But one of the conversations was when they sat down with me, I said, "How do you guys still go to church like you used to a lot?" No. Well, I said that, you know, you haven't gone to church for 3 years? No. You haven't found a home church? No. Kind of got to find a home church. If you did it and you get away from it, it helps you out. Indifference, selfishness. He says, what wives wish husbands knew. James Dobson wrote a book many years ago that sold 10 million copies. The title of the book is What Wives Wish Husbands Knew. He says, do you know how many of those customers that bought those books were men? He says, nobody. Men don't buy books like that. He says, wives buy it, give it to their husbands, and the husbands never read it. Apparently, this book sold 10 million copies, okay? And then we are different creatures, biologically, behaviorally, behaviorally, emotions, and commissions. And he says, just to kind of break it down for you, he says, do you know how many products the average man has in their bathroom? It says 6. He says, you know how many products the average woman has in their bathroom?
600.
337.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
So let's see.
Is that real?
Wait, let's come in.
Yeah.
Toothpaste, dental floss, deodorant, hair gel,
shaving cream.
Tom, we get it. You got products.
There's 5.
Yeah. So you said,
That's it.
I just use a napkin.
We're out of here.
Tom, a lot of people don't know this, is Tom, when he lived in Dallas, part of a church, Tom was leading a ministry of a lot of husband and wives that were about to go through a divorce, and you saved a lot of marriages. This isn't public. This is private. I know this because you and I have talked about it when you were contributing to that church. And, you know, when you saw marriages that were getting close, marriage is not easy. It's a very difficult thing. We know this ourselves. What patterns did you notice? And what the people that were able to turn it around, what did they do, Tom? What did you notice? You did this for quite a few years.
People that were able to turn around did 2 things. Number one, they actually listened to a third party. And second, they actually stopped to apply it to themselves. And there's a simple example we give people. We say, if you're willing to listen and you're willing to draw a circle and put yourself in the middle of it and only fix what's in the circle, this has got a chance. Do you want to have a chance? And if they both say yes, it says, okay, let's start with listening and let's put ourselves in the circle and do it. And so it was that simple, Pat. Willingness to listen, to allow a third party to not give you your solutions, but to give you a framework, and then willingness to go look at that. And we had these chapters that would take people through on spiritual self-reflection, you know, family of origin, things. And just remember this statement, Pat. It may not be your fault, but it is your reality, and how you react is your fault. There are things in life that may not be your fault, but it is your reality, and how you react is your fault.
So that's that. What other feedback would you give, Tom? What other feedback would you give?
That this here, indifference and selfishness, is huge. Forget about affairs, forget about fights, forget about all that stuff. Believe it or not, you know, recovering alcoholic or recovering drug addiction, once somebody says, man, I've got an issue and I'm out of here, there is a greater chance for strength on that because everybody's got like the same objective.
Yep.
But indifference and selfishness, when people get to what we call the edge of the waterfall, well, that's it. I don't care, and I'm going to worry about me, and I'm going to take care of myself here. That's indifference and selfishness. And once you get to that part, now distance becomes so far. And that's when American courts invented the phrase irreconcilable differences. And I disagree with that statement so much, because I believe with Christ, anything on earth is reconcilable.
So Tom, I'm so happy you brought that up. So how much does faith, because I mean, being a Christian, like I wouldn't be with anybody that wasn't a Christian. How much of that, meaning solidifying the fact that, like, hey, listen, we're going to have ups, we're going to have downs, but this all comes back, because Tom, biblically about divorce, it's not like looked at as a positive thing, but if you stay in the faith and you stay positive, like how much of a factor is that?
Faith is huge because it puts a simple rule book under it. If everybody used a different rule book on the highways, it'd be chaos.
Yes.
But everybody, even the ones that don't obey everything, the highways basically work because there's a set of rules out there and people follow them.
Yes.
You know, only drive on the right side of the road, all these kind of things. And so faith helps people have a place to turn for their own healing and have a place to turn for patience and strength while they're awaiting healing.
Got you.
And that foundation is critical.
I will tell you, one of the guys I was talking to who's going through marital issues, asked him a question. I said, so who do you spend time with? I don't have a lot of people that I spend time with. It's just the people I do business with. I said, no, who do you spend time with? Which other successful marriage couples do you guys go to dinner with on a weekly basis that's not currently involved in your business? Nobody. I said, well, that's a problem. You know, you got to find a way to be around other people who have successful marriages, who are similar values, for that to be a positive peer pressure in your life. You guys got to spend time together. You guys got to do things that you look forward to. You have to have certain traditions and rituals that you create just for the two of you guys. But I'm at 17 years. This is not easy. You know, we got 4 kids, moving parts, business, life, travel, all this stuff, health, trying to figure it out. But if there's one thing that you can do that increases the chances, then go to church together.
Yep.
Go to church together. Go to church together. All right, sounds good. So we're ending on a good note.
Yeah.
We're ending on a good note here.
I read a couple books. One that you recommended, 101 Questions to Ask Before You Get Engaged. But the biggest difference in my life that I read, this was when I was going through my first divorce. They recommended reading Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. And I read the first chapter and I'm like, I get it now. We're from completely different planets.
That was all you needed was read the title.
So just act accordingly. And that's what I learned.
There you go. Okay. All right, gang. We will do this again on Friday. I think we have an interview that's going to go out this week. Stay tuned. And but lots of other big interviews coming here soon. Stay tuned. Like literally, we may even drop something today. We may drop 2 in the next 2 days. Just stay tuned on what we got going on. Take care, everybody. God bless. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.